If you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Looting through the rubble, leaving cities war-torn, still incurring more scorn. Ragged and I'm forlorn, trying to lock this. Opened with my lockpicks, punching with my second hand every time the clock ticks.
There you go.
Okay, I think we can go to face mode now, and hopefully there will be no more echo. So here we go. Hold on to your butts. Okay, ooh, this light's kind of, let me point this in a slightly different direction. That's not in anyone's eyes. There we go. Alright, we're going to do a quick audio check here. Let's see if there's no weirdness. See, I don't know why there was a... So we're doing a live stream back to back. So I was live streaming yesterday, and I, dead serious, have no idea why there was a echo in the initial... The computers are weird. Let's put it this way: computers are weird. I always keep telling people this, that you know, that a lot of people think, oh, like this is a hacker conference, so that means like all the tech is amazing, and it's like no, because it's a hacker conference, everything is completely fucked there and back, so nothing works. And that's kind of like this stream. So anyhow, let's get this ball rolling here, because it's literally, particularly for Master of Unlocking, it's literally been a month. So yeah, we have a lot to catch up on. I'll catch up everyone on here. So hi, welcome to the DCG 201 live stream. People refer to me as Sidepocket. I am one of the two co-founders of DCG 201, formerly known as DEF CON 201 or DC 201. We are one of the many computer hacker groups across the country and around the world. And if you want to know more about us and our hacker shenanigans that we will hopefully be announcing pretty soon while we keep working on our website, here's our Medium blog that I just posted in chat right here, because everything should be working now in terms of chatbots. If you want to follow us on all the socials, because we're literally on all the socials, we're on Twitter, because I'm going to keep calling it that. I'm not going to call it X because of the muskrat. I'll put it this way: I'll stop dead naming his site when he stops dead naming people in real life. We are on the hostducks.social instance of Mastodon. We have our own GitHub page, Instagram, all sorts of stuff. The link tree I just posted in chat has all of that in there. And while we're still trying to figure out new communication methods in addition to all of our social media, we do have, just like any other filthy computer group out there, a Discord. So I just posted that in chat. We're going to be like slowly using it more before the end of the year, and hopefully we'll have like a decent repertoire there until we figure out what new IRC, we're going to vote on which new IRC server we're going to migrate to, as well as which new internal chat system we're going to use. Fun! I love adulting. So, it's been a while, but welcome to Master of Unlocking. For those of you, because it's been a while, I probably keep saying that a lot, for those of you who have never seen this show, it's quite simple. This is where me, as a member of TOOOL, get to live stream and talk about physical security, mainly locks, padlocks, door locks, how they work, and all the different sort of lockpicking methods, bypass, shimmings, all sorts of crazy mechanical things of how to circumvent those security, you know, such as lockpicking. And so, again, it's kind of rusty here because it's been a while. I had a lot of personal stuff going on in my life. I had a lot of personal stuff that was affecting DCG 201 as a whole, of getting stuff off the ground. And to put it also very bluntly, we are supposed to announce this week when we're going to have in-person meetings in this October, but I had a slight monkey wrench thrown at me on Friday, so I'm trying to resolve that. What I'm hoping for is in the next day or three before PumpCon starts, we're going to finally make those announcements. But in the meantime, which is something I am going to highlight now, even though this says this is a sponsored stream, I will mention, I list it as a sponsored stream because it's something else I'm going to bring up in a bit later on this episode. It has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. I just honestly like this space so much because, well, partly if we didn't have this space, I want to be live streaming. So you'll see their website in a bit later on, but I am streaming right now at Hack Manhattain. And one of the things I have been doing for the month I've been off streaming is I've been teaching lockpicking in person because they have open houses every Tuesday and Thursday at their new location at 37th Street between 6th and 5th Avenue, and every second and fourth Tuesday. Even though you should go on like any open house, you can make it if you're in the New York tri-state area. It's like literally about 3.5 blocks away from the path station. The MTA goes right there, bus, train, cannon from Staten Island, all of that. But if you particularly want to like check out lockpicking, especially because it's morning, usually when I'm at the other open houses, I have all the other lockpicking stuff put away. But if you want to learn in person, like what you see on the show, every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, which means that on October 24th, we will be at it again. So that's what I've been doing to keep myself partly sane in the meantime. But in addition to now that, I am back doing the live stream. So what have I been doing while I'm away with a lot of locks? Well, we're going to be getting into that. I have been doing two major lockpicking things outside of teaching locks here at Hack Manhattan. One is I got to, which is why this stream's sponsored, because while it's not sponsored by them, because I did get paid in order to actually teach lockpicking for this, I set everything to sponsor just to cover our asses here on the live of streams. But I ended up working, ironically, a blockchain convention going on in New York, where this company that we're going to look into, they wanted someone to teach lockpicking, and they paid me to, and partly because they make their business card is these temporary lockpicks. So we're going to take a look at this, and hopefully if we get some more people in chat, otherwise I'll do it as a separate thing in the future, because I know everything's been like crazy this weekend. I will hopefully give these cards away. And by the way, while supplies last, if you do show up to, unfortunately I didn't have them at the last one because I'm incredibly dumb, but if you do show up to the second or fourth Tuesday at Hack Manhattan and I have these, you have a neat chance of possibly getting one of these while I still have a ton of them. So just a note, if you can't get one on the stream and you're in the New York tri-state area, show up to here during the second and fourth Tuesday of the month, and you might be able to get one yourself. But we're going to be doing kind of a giveaway for this. And I was also, speaking of Hack Manhattan, also at the Faire Coney Island, which was a very awesome yet interesting experience, especially because I've had an extensive amount at their old location under different owners out in Queens. But that's neither here or there. We're going to get into all of that in a moment. So to summarize, I'm going to be talking about the two big places, two conventions where I was teaching lockpicking, and comparing and contrasting them both, kind of interesting stories, and all the shenanigans going on. And then we're going to take a look at the company I was working at, Evertas, and what a lockpick card is. We're going to break some of these out, try them on a ton of different locks that you don't see on the screen. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the episode, including a sneak peek of what our next episode is going to be before the month ends. So before we start, and hi everyone, I see you in chat. I also want to mention two quick things before we go on like a short 10 to 30 second break, just so I can reorganize some stuff and move the camera around. So first of all, if you like any of the stuff that you see during this channel, I know I sound like a broken record when I say this because I'll be saying this a lot, but you can freely like, share, and subscribe on all of our major streaming platforms, which, if my memory serves me correctly, is Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, Odyssey, and recently Kick, because, you know, we hate ourselves. So when you do, at least everything but PeerTube, if you do follow and you haven't followed us before or subscribe, we do get notifications during live streaming. When you do that, I kind of cheer you on. You can also follow when we're not streaming and get updates on when we live stream, as well as like other cool videos of different things. I'll be actually uploading some of the videos of the me at the Faire Coney Island a bit later. But yeah, you know, it really supports out the stream. You get notifications for these. And by the way, because YouTube is a poorly coded piece of crap, make sure that when you do subscribe to us on YouTube, that you click that bell icon and click on all notifications where it's completely filled in, because YouTube really hates both the people watching people's videos and the people who create content videos, and thus they set the default for them not bothering you to learn of everything. They're kind of like the DMV. They just do not inform you of anything that goes on. And the other thing is that since now we have a bit more people in chat, I do like an active chat. And again, we're going to attempt, if we have enough time and there's people here, to do hopefully a small giveaway about like 3, maybe 4 of these lockpicking cards. But if you have any questions about what I'm doing, what a lockpick card is, even though I'm recently new, so I'm kind of underqualified, what like where we're streaming at, which is Hack Manhattain. We're going to take a look at their website in a second. You know, what's this hat I'm wearing? Why am I here? What's the existential crisis of life? Feel free to ask all this stuff in chat. And if you do troll, at least make it really funny. Otherwise, I'm just going to see you as lame and block you off. But if you are just here to watch and lurk and learn all the lockpicking stuff and watch me get frustrated at locks occasionally, as I always say, keep lurking, keep learning. So we're going to go on a short, like 10 to 30-second break just so I can move the camera around and get a little bit more set up on the table, since unfortunately I can't do dual cameras this stream. I'm going to fix that on our next stream. And yeah, we're gonna share some more stories, and we're gonna check out this card. So see you all in a bit. Enjoy the music for a couple of seconds here. Ta-da! So we're going to go over to desktop mode, and you're going to realize that the camera position has changed. Ta-da! So now you know I have like a coinage profile going on. It won't stay that way for very long because I'm going to make everyone sick, but I'm going to point the camera down at the table in a bit, just like the first couple of live streams we did like 2+ years ago. I still can't believe I've been doing these live streams since the pandemic for that long. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at all this, but before we do, and again, my face is going to disappear because we only have one camera for tonight. To kind of sum it up, I was originally going to do a whole dual camera setup with my phone, and it wasn't working. And then I kind of realized that because there's like multiple wires and multiple routers on here, that I'm probably on 2 different routers. So I went, F it, we'll do it live, and we're going to be doing it bootleg like what we did back in the ye olden days. So hi everyone, welcome back. And I will also mention that if we have enough people for to do the raffle, which is going to be about like, I want to say like, hopefully like at very minimal more than 4 people. If not, I would love to have like more than 6 people watching this to do it. I need to cut down my ums. We are going to do the raffle thing right at the end, and this stream shouldn't take longer than an hour, to be honest, because we're going to be cutting through a lot. So before we get into that, I'm going to turn off the camera here, and we're going to take a look at some web stuff, including getting rid of this page that doesn't work. That was my test page there. So if I can go back in time, here we go. So this was the Medium blog that I shared in chat that I was talking about. And to shout them out again, God, I just love this. So this is Hack Manhattan's website. I could see previews of their like new design here, and it's so freaking cool. You can check out yesterday's stream on Crypto Barons where I compared this to the DC 404 website, which is made also to resemble like an old Macintosh computer, like a Mac OS 8 or 7 sort of desktop environment. But this is really cool. It's also really accessible. That it just loads in, and anything that doesn't load in goes back to defaults. It's just great design. I'm going to put the... Hey, Brett. So we're not doing an order. It is going to be a randomization for the raffle, but it's nice to know that you're first. So hi, welcome to here on YouTube. But yeah, I just posted the website. That's hackmanhattan.com. Again, check them out. In addition to like the open houses Tuesdays and Thursdays, and me doing the second and fourth Tuesday open houses for lockpicking, they also have a ton of. Some of the classes are paid. A bunch of them are also sort of open, where you just bring in your own stuff, and you can do sewing and learning computer code, repair fixing, journaling, story hours, all sorts of stuff. And again, believe it or not, there's not someone from the space like pointing a gun outside the camera making me say all of this. I literally do this to my own volition, because I'm looking at the people here around me, and they're just sort of like, why do you keep talking about this? So yeah, there you go. Oh, that this is high off camera. So so I just wanted to shout this out, because again, if I didn't have this space, well, first of all, the space is awesome. I'm going to be doing a lot of lock stuff in between shows and meetings. If you ever come to the space, you might see me do these things. I keep warning them that eventually there's going to be a bottle of lava soap and blue shop towels, or even green shop towels if I want to be really adventurous. But if it wasn't for the space, we wouldn't be doing these live streams again. So yay for that. So continuing on, it's kind of something where I'm coming from. So like I previewed yesterday, this is Evertas. This is the company that contracted me to, so I'm going to tell the full story here. So what happened is that they originally had, so as I showed before, their business card is lockpicking. They do not only base cybersecurity stuff, but they do something that is desperately needed in a blockchain world. That normal banks have had for centuries, which is insurance for when all your shit gets fucked. So that's basically what they do. So to kind of just like echo that, their business cards are a set of lockpicks, which again we're going to get into in about a couple of minutes, like 5 to 8 minutes. And so their whole thing when they were invited to the Mainnet convention, which is this convention over here, was, okay, how do we stick as a booth? There's a booth with a magician. There's people handing out free bottles of water. I'm pretty sure if they could get away with like free lap dances, a company would probably do that, especially in the crypto world. Are you kidding me? So what they ended up doing was they were like, hey, we're into security. We like the lockpicking stuff when we go to like DEF CON and Hackers on Planet Earth and Chaos Computer Congress and stuff. They legit do that, by the way. So these are like, despite this being like insurance and base cybersecurity, they are like honestly hacker as fuck. So they reached out to a bunch of people in TOOOL and also major lockpickers, and they had an unknown, I'm not going to say on air who it was, but they had an unknown major lock sport person that they were going to teach lockpicking for. And unfortunately what happened is like a week before they were set to do this, that person had to drop out. But lucky for them, this person recommended me to replace them instead, saying, and I quote, that I'm one of the best instructors, so it should be even better than what they were going to apparently bring. And then they reached out to people like my longtime colleague Deviant Olam and a bunch of other people in Locksporters, and they gave a thumbs up for me. So they contacted me, asked if they wanted to do it. First time ever doing an invoice. I'm not going to say how much I got paid, but let's just say, if you ever see me in a Bentley anytime soon, that's why. And so yeah, I actually got to, for once in my life, get paid to do something I absolutely love to do. And it was fantastic, by the way. I only had one bad experience, which I'll repeat from yesterday, because Well, in short, and I actually should, later on I'll grab the other thing, but I had two, I never had anything in my equipment ever break until this event. And to be fair, it wasn't because they were like blockchain bros or whatever. Well, it kind of was, but let me clarify. Everyone did really good. In fact, the person who excelled the most at this was the building super at Pier 36. She came in not knowing anything about locks. By the end of it, she was defeating some of the high security trainers that I had. Like, we gave her like a special prize and everything. It was fantastic. But there were two people who were successfully picking locks open, but then they said the thing you should never ever say in lock sport or in hacking in general, the magical phrase of, oh, I know what I'm doing, because as soon as you're done literally saying that combination of magic words, whatever the thing you're doing completely breaks and fucks up. And that happened to my public city rake, which is why I'm now going to be ordering a bunch of new ones, and that happened to a cylinder, and I'll show both of those at the end of the stream because I forgot to take them out of the case. That even wasn't the bad experience. The bad experience, which is more funny than anything, was there was a guy in a three-piece suit at the booth, and he again, I'm sorry for no camera. We're going to get the camera on shortly. He was doing what I like to call the Hawkeye method of picking locks, where you use two normal picks in the same lock, rocking back and forth, which is totally not the way to do it. It's kind of like, I don't know, typing on a terminal on a Mac, using your fingers and using PowerShell commands instead of Linux commands in order to like move a file on. It's like totally the wrong, like obviously like wrong way to do it. And he was talking about how he's done this multiple times before, but it's been a while. And so when I stopped him, I was like, I thought you said that you knew all of this stuff. And then he immediately cut me off and said that, no. I said it's been a while since I've done this. Not that I know this stuff. You need to be a better listener. And my whole thing is, normally I start shutting that stuff down, but I'm like, look, I'm hired for a different company. They want to attempt to do business, so I want to do it. That's not why this is funny. Here's what makes it funny. So as I'm teaching a group of other people while ignoring this guy, and he now has everything in the right way because I gave it to him, because he's an executive type. This is what they're like. This is what made it funny, is that they start talking, and then he reveals that he's one of the head execs of Coinbase. So to put it bluntly, I started laughing. Everyone got confused. When he walked away, I had to explain to Evertas. Saying I ran into an asshole from Coinbase is like saying ATM machine. Just the virtue of that you work at Coinbase usually means you're a narcissistic asshole. And that's not just me. Ask anyone in the blockchain crypto world. That's exactly how they're viewed. This is exactly why they lose money and get hacked all the time. I would have said this even before this incident happened, but it was just really funny. It's just sort of like I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it's like one of those things where it's like, some guy just, I don't know, was like rubbing, like cutting wounds into his kid and rubbing salt in them, and then you find out he's like a Christian Republican, and it's like, of course you are. Of course you thought this would actually cure the COVID in him, like it's like that sort of like duh type of moment. So that was my funny story of that. Otherwise, everything was fantastic. And speaking of things that are fantastic, something that was even more fantastic, and before we jump over there, here were some pictures of that mainnet. So if I can get this to load, takes a second. So this was like a promo thing. I have a wide shot that I couldn't find in time for this, but they took this in front of their lockpicking challenge. And this was another funny thing, by the way, is that, and this is all the gear right there, including the club. But the lockpicking challenge, they had a thing where, and it was actually pretty sweet, because welcome to the crypto world, where it was, we were debating a lot of like what should be the challenge lock. And I think the problem is that me and Evertas kind of underestimated, I guess, my ability to teach people things. So, and they were happy, like they weren't mad at this. So what we came to the baseline level is if you could get to 4 pins and pick the master lock 140s that I had open, then you'd be able to enter a raffle where if you win that raffle, you could win an Apple or a Samsung smartwatch, whatever the latest version was, because they had a ton at the booth. And the problem is that because originally it was the other dude, and these are people who are completely new to this, they were like, okay, so hopefully by the end of the convention, we'll have at least like 10, maybe 12 like entries. So after teaching everyone people for a full day the first day, an hour for the second day, and half a day on the third day, they had over 60 people in the contest. That's how many people progressed up to 4 pins and got through the 140. So like they were happy that it's like, ooh, this actually gets to be like a competition now with the raffle, which is funny because we're doing a raffle for these things. But yeah, like, so it was just kind of fun of like, okay, I knew I kind of teach people well. It's like the only thing I can humble brag about, but like, holy crap, was not expecting any of that shit. So yeah, it was really fun. Again, except for the one Coinbase guy, because it's fucking Coinbase. This was all really nice. We had a little small table here, a little cramped. It was good. I just got to roam around, meet some of the other people that I'm going to be pulling into future DCG Tool 1 stuff. It was fun. But what was even more fun was, thanks to me now being a Hack Manhattan member, I was invited to the Maker Faire Coney Island, which happened in October, and the amphitheater in Coney Island. And there was a couple of things fascinating about this. First of all, for a lot of people, including, I was shocked at how many people at Hack Manhattan themselves, this was apparently their first time ever at Coney Island. So it's kind of just like it was also kind of sad because we were really focused, like any convention, you know, it's like you try to like, it's the same problem of going to DEF CON, where it's like you hope you get to experience Vegas outside of DEF CON, but then DEF CON becomes so absorbing that you realize you never left like your con. Like there's people who like try to go to DEF CON and they get so into the contest that they don't even leave their hotel room for the 5 days that they're there. So it was sort of the same thing where like I wish we could have went like as a group to the Freak Bar, and I really wanted to show everyone the yellow submarine. Yes, there's literally a yellow submarine that's half sunk off the coast. That was a real thing that happened. You can go wiki that. But regardless, it was kind of fun there. It was also interesting to compare and contrast, because I'm going to be like brutally honest. Again, it's really fun stuff. You could totally tell that this was an entirely new group of people doing the New York one, because there used to be one in Queens. That's the one everyone remembers because they wanted to be like the World's Fair. And so I feel like the trade-off was that the Queens one I felt was way more organized, but it was kind of to some degree, and this is probably too strong of a word, boring, simply because, and I agreed with the assessment they made on air on the Off the Hook show leading up to that week, where it felt like they were cloning the Maker Faire from San Francisco or whatever, or San Diego, to everywhere else. And what they wanted to do with this Maker Faire on Coney Island is make it feel like it's part of Coney Island, which I feel like they mostly did. You know, especially if they have future ones, they can kind of expand, start taking Surf Avenue over, and it could be at the Freak Bar, it could be at the brewery. I know they had a little bit at the stadium where they did drone races, which unfortunately I had to miss out on due to busyness. But the thing you could definitely tell is this was their first time doing a Maker Faire or a big event, and it showed. And that's not even a complaint. It's just it showed, which I'm actually glad for, because again, like they were really nice there, and they were learning, and I literally can't wait to see this next year, especially if they do it on a slightly different date where it's not over the course of Jewish holidays and a bunch of other events were going on. I already told the staff there that they'll probably get 1 billion people next time they did it. But when we were there, it was really cool. It was kind of funny because everyone was like, first of all, one thing, and then I promise we'll get to the locks. First of all, so I was like late multiple times because I'm from New Jersey and the PATH train fucking sucks balls, which is like also the water is wet and the sky is blue. So I was late multiple times except for the final day where I just decided to like basically like be a bum in New York City overnight, and that's why I wasn't late. But apparently, like, I don't know if it was I'm gonna ask them after the stream. I don't know if like Hack Manhattan was hyping this, or the Maker Faire people saw this and were hyping it, because I know Bia was there with We Girls Can Hack, and so for everyone else listening in, the chat's trying to butter me up. They're saying all the cool people show up late, so like you're making me feel better, but I know you're lying. So good job, chat. So, but no, it's where's my train of thought on this? So. I'm talking about how crappy the path is, and I said the words train of thought, the delayed train of thought, the train delayed for over an hour train of thought. So the thing is that when I got there that first day, the security guards and everyone was like, the lockpicker's here. Oh my God. And apparently like this was like hyped throughout the Maker Faire on Coney Island. So one, no pressure for me. Two was that because of that, like, what was kind of weird is I guess there were, because when I was talking to other people at the convention, they were, I'm pretty sure you're cool. It's just me. So, but that, like, I'll put it this way, like, for real. I felt like a lot of people were hyped for me bringing lockpicking, but I was honestly way more hyped for all the other stuff that all the people from Hack Manhattan brought to the frickin' Maker Faire. Which is why every time I uploaded pictures, which you're going to see in a second, I tried to share any of the stuff that we publicly uploaded. And I'm going to go from memory. So probably like the most coolest thing, which is an ongoing project, and I'm probably going to describe it terribly. And again, show up to the open house on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you encounter the people there, they're actually live streaming it now. We've been re-streaming their live stream ever since they started this project. They can tell you better, but basically there's a whole thing with Japanese cell phones and trying to crack the encryption on them so that they can preserve primarily not only just the software, but all of like the Java video games that existed during the early to mid 2000s on Japanese phones. To me, that was the highlight booth at the Maker Faire. It wasn't the lockpicking stuff, it was that. But every other thing too, like at the last day, which I felt for, there was one Hack Manhattan person who was there where it was perler beads, and I could kind of tell when they were setting it up that they were just hoping this to be a little side thing, and then they got swamped because it's freaking perler beads. How cool is that? There was also some like 3D printing stuff and some hardware things. It was just like, I really think that, like, honestly, looking at all the booths, there was other cool things. Like, there was a cow milking video game at some other booth, and the Hug Match people, which I haven't seen since we invited them to the Liberty Science Center years ago, were there. But, like, I really felt like Hack Manhattan, in the entirety of it, was, like, the VIP highlight booth besides the We Girls Hack of, like, the whole fair. And that's not even because I'm a member. Like, if I was there like just as a guest, it would have been like, whoa, and just saw like the row of Hack Manhattan stuff. It was pretty cool. And to finish up that so we can get to the locks, we did upload some stuff to the Instagrams, which again, if you go to the link tree, you can find, or you can just type in DEFCON 201 on Instagram. So this was like, I had a giant table to myself. These were like, I haven't seen these type of tables since like high school. It was hilarious. And then here's kind of like a short video. Let's see if I can turn on the desktop audio for it, if it will load. There we go. This is kind of a preview of the entire table and some close-ups of people working on things. That one's working on practice number 3. She, who was really good, all the children, by the way, learned this way better than the adults. You're probably going to see these two later, the rest of the table, and as I say in here, shout out to Covert Instruments, because one of the Hack Manhattan members has, actually you're going to see this twice. I guess that freaking jackknife multi-pick thing that they have is like, I guess, really popular in New York, because there's a Hack Manhattan member who has one of those. That's not me. And then we had someone come in on the open house who also had one of those. Both really cool people, by the way. This is another close-up. This is someone actually using the Lishi decoder tool for the master lock. This is kind of more of the table, and there's the hint of the legs of the person who had the cool Covert Instruments thing, as well as the flyers, which I will have a couple of, and so when I go to events I can show this. And these are the kids. After teaching one kid, another kid tried to teach this kid how to...
Pull the other thing up. So here, I'll show you. And then pull, yep, and down.
And that's how you get out.
And then the 2600 van showed up on the last day, and here's a great picture of a Hack Manhattan member with the whole cell phone hacking thing and the hilarious sign that just said, "Please hack my phone," which I thought was absolutely goddamn brilliant. And then here's me trolling BSI Labs booth when she wasn't there for the Girls Who Hack booth. And yeah, it was like, it was just really cool for like 2 weeks of 2 completely different things to do this thing that I love, which is locks. And when I got paid for it, when I got paid in like happiness points, although someone did donate money for me at the Maker Faire, that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was just really freaking awesome. 2 weeks, and because of that, now we get to go into the actual thing you probably tuned in for. So here we go. Let's turn on the video display. Actually, let me angle the camera first, because we're doing this the most bootleg way possible. And if everything goes right, there we go. Okay, so this is pretty much as good as it's going to get, unfortunately, especially when it comes to like close-ups and things. So You can see some of the locks are going to go in. There's even, if I tilt up, way more lock stuff over there. So if you see my hands go off screen this way, I'm going to be grabbing more stuff because we're going to start with this. Well, first we're going to kind of preview, like explain what this is. We're going to take one of these apart. We're going to go over each tool. We're going to compare them to the tools that are in my actual full-on lockpicking kit. And then we're going to try it first on all this basic stuff, just see if it works. And then we're going to see how far we can go, including some theories that I have about even one of the bad flaws in this thing that might be able to be reused for something else that, might be a little bit out of the box thinking. So this is the Evertas business card. This is what's known as a lockpicking kit card. And so what is that? Well, basically, if you've ever seen like survival cards or anything where they take a piece of credit card size metal and they stamp out tools, like for the ready man stuff, they have like little saws and little like knife points and little like star guides and things popped out. Well, this is they take a sheet of metal, press stamp it, and you basically have a set of emergency picks that you can like break out and use as regular lock picks. And the thing about them, which we're going to look at, is that their profiles are way shorter, so it should be a little cramped to use, because I've never used these type of picks before, to be honest. And also, because it's just simple pressed thin steel, they work. But I always advertise that they probably only work for a couple of picks or for a certain amount of time. It's not like when you get solid lock picks that last you for years. This would probably last you like, oh, if you're really bad, it might only last you like an hour, but it should last you for a couple of days to maybe a couple of weeks by comparison. We're going to take it out of the sleeve here because it's talking about our booth was at 227 to learn the lockpicking. So we're going to take this out of the sleeve thing because it's not a hot pocket. This is one of my cousins. So you can see it's stamped back to front with their logo. We have different picks here. And what's really fascinating, and I want to see if I still have it in one of my side pockets, is that in addition to the picks, they have a little, I don't have it sadly, but they have the little like Allen wrench pops out. So I don't have anything Allen wrenchy to use this on. They also have a little corner, which maybe it's to like pull things or tag things. I don't know. They also had their, like as a specialty thing, like their own like multi-tool card in this sort of way, but it was like a multi-tool, it was a lot thicker metal, and they had the same Allen wrench design. So I like that. Instead of just simply throwing the rest of the case away, when you pick this out, you can still make some use with the like Allen wrench and this little like 90-degree corner thing that's stamped out. Although there is about this overall case design that, again, this is a good start, but it's not perfect, as all of a sudden some old Macintosh turns on. Welcome to being at a hackerspace. And no, just trust me. I'm talking to another room. I should show you some of our past live streams where like it's like literally like it's like Seinfeld but with computers. It's really bad.
Website autoplayed audio. I want to.
Oh, you went. Welcome to what it was like being on MySpace, everybody. So again, we're gonna break some of this stuff out. And actually, before we do, let's go from what I can see from the tools here. So the way they stamp these out is they have the pick ends facing in opposite directions, 2 at a time. So it's 2, 4, 6 sets. And in here there should be a half diamond, a ball pick, which is very interesting looking into. This weird squiggly thing that is honestly one of the potential flaws of this thing. And actually, I want to look at one of the other printouts to just make sure I'm not going crazy with something. Yeah. So we're going to kind of get to that in a bit. This straight tool that confuses everyone, that I'm going to explain in a moment, which there can be definitely a better design for this, a S rake and then a short hook. So let's get to breaking this stuff out, and I'm already getting like, hopefully I'm not going to get like micro cuts doing this, because I've never actually like done this before. So here we go. So I'm going to fold this guy out first. Nope, wow, that flew out. And actually, now that I have one out here, there's a lot of edging. Like the edges are really sharp, so I kind of wish I need to get a new. I mean, obviously, there's probably sandpaper here, but to be honest, for my own personal kit stuff, I really need to get another sandpaper sponge, because that's what I use to smooth out like the Chinese lockpicks that go into the public demo. So even I'm worried that the edges might catch, but again, these are designed for emergencies of like, I need a lockpick stat, so stamp them out. But I'm honestly shocked of how sturdy the metal is. Like, I was expecting this to almost be like 18 thousandths of an inch, where it's closer to 15,000, where it'd be really wobbly, easy to break. But like, I'm putting like This is like medium pressure, and look at the bend, and it goes immediately back to stiff. So this is really impressive, but you know, something me being impressive about stiff things. So let's put this half diamond down. Let's pop the rest of these out. So the next up is the ball. And this is really interesting too, because I'm going to be comparing profiles in a bit, but I do have a set of ball wafer picks, but I only have the half ball, and I only have a snowman. I don't have a full, here's another innuendo. I don't have a full ball yet of just one circle. I either have the double circles, aka the snowman, or I have half of a circle. So I actually might put this one in like my side backup kit that I use the bypasses for, simply just so I can have a full ball pick to complete the set here. So that's one. Now, here's something fascinating. So I believe, originally, because this is, I think, the second printout they've done of this, as Thomas the Tank Engine just showed up, and I have no idea what that whistle was. I guess the power went out over there. But so this is a double peak, and again, we're going to compare pick profiles in a moment. But originally, on the first print of these, this had one of those high-low or low-high designs where one bump was shorter than the other by a large margin, similar to the Rook, Knight, and King and Queen picks that Sparrows used to sell. And there's a reason why they don't sell them anymore, as they were known as glorified leather openers, because you couldn't actually fit them in the keyholes, and it was way better as a single pin pick, the high-low highs and the low-high lows, than to have one pick for them. Like, even if it was a thinner profile that could enter, that could be a problem. So I think in the second wave, they just shortened this to basically a double peak. But there is kind of a potential flaw in how they did the double peak that we're going to go over in a moment when we start comparing the other profiles I have. Now, this thing is fascinating. This next thing I'm going to politely pop out. There we go. Also, it's a little difficult at the bend, but once you bend back, they instantly pop out, so there's nothing like flying anywhere or anything. So I had a lot of people ask what this is, and unfortunately, it's hard to see with this camera, but there is a little, if I shine a light out, there's a little bend in the middle, like right around here. There's that bend. You can see it as the highlight goes back and forth. This is actually your bomb of the keyway tension turning tool, because you're supposed to do this, if I remember correctly. And it takes a lot too. So this is honestly a lot stronger than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, you're supposed to bend this, and so this is your bomb of the keyway tension turning tool. Now, again, the steel is stronger than I thought it was going to be, so this actually might put up some good abuse, even though there's a lot less length in order to actually properly do the turning on. But there's a better design that I'm going to go through at the end that I hope to do a version 3, because we've been in talks about how to improve this whole business card. Because again, it's a very solid start, but there's like some stuff. Now that I'm pushing these out, there's even like more stuff that I can like correct on here. So the next pick that we're going to bring out is this S-rake. And again, we're going to compare profiles, but there's a very interesting profile of this sort of S-rake, and there actually might be a thing that you might see a flaw in this particular profile that we might actually be able to use as a possible advantage. So that's kind of fascinating. And then finally, last but not least, is everyone's good old favorite, there we go, which is your classic near knockoff Christina Palmer designed short hook that you've seen me use on this show multiple times. And that is all the picks you get. So it's 6 picks. Again, to recap, you have your short hook, you have your half diamond, you have your wafer rake ball pick, you have a double peak, you have a S rake, and a bomb the keyway tension tool. And for the rest of this kit, besides the kind of superficial Allen wrench part, unfortunately the rest of this is just a business card and it's kind of useless. Again, when we go out at the end, I can talk about different things they could do with this design in order to like improve all of this. So we're going to put this away for now and focus on the picks. So now that we have all these printed out in these profiles, let's open my everyday carry and let's compare pick profiles. So we have our short hook. We have, let's get this out. Oh crap, I just realized this top audio is on. So if there was a slight echo, I apologize. Just double check. Let's get this out. Yeah, there was a slight echo, but at least it wasn't as annoying as before. So sorry. One of these days I'm going to get the hang of streaming. I've only done this for only over 2 years. So we have the short hook. We have the half diamond. I'm going to use the half ball pick to represent the full ball pick. We have a double peak. We have our S rake. And I'm going to choose the smallest, thinnest bomb the keyway tension tool that I have in my kit, just for comparison's sake. So let's start comparing profiles here. So let me think of the best way I could do this. Let's use this black hat. I'm being a black hat today. So yeah, so here's the profile of the half diamond from the Lockpick card, and here's the Sparrow's short hook, and here's the Sparrow short hook. And to be honest, so the Sparrow short hook up here has more of like a minor curve with a more pointed tip, while the one from the Lockpick card has a wider reach. It's almost so there's a similar pick that's an actual specialty pick that Sparrow sells, which is called the half reach, which is this sort of like giant arch loop, and that's what it kind of more resembles than the hook, even though it's supposed to be the hook. But to be honest, besides the Lockpick card being bigger, they are pretty much definitely still hooks, and they're definitely still in the short hook range over here. So, you know, not bad for a short hook. Now, probably what's even more comparable, because I don't have a Sparrow's half diamond, so I have my trusty South Ord non-handled half diamond here. And so what you can see here, which is crazy because I've seen so many variances with half diamonds, particularly half diamonds that are so big that they can't fit into keyways, but this is pretty identical, if I put one on top of each other, to the actual one from South Ord. So I don't know about Sparrows, but this is definitely literally almost the same cutout. It's just basically thanks to some professional tumbling, the half diamond from South Ord is rounded edges, while this has obviously sharper edges. Like you can literally like stab someone with the tip of this. Ow, it actually kind of hurts, to be honest. I wonder if you could draw blood with it. Well, if I screw up, we'll find out. Hopefully that won't happen. So again, we have the ball pick, and again, I don't have a full ball in my kit to demo, which is probably why I'm going to keep this full ball pick in my normal pick set, just so I can have one. That way I have a half ball, a full ball, and a snowman. But to be honest, again, if we take the half ball and put it on the full ball, this is like the exact same profile, but it's just a full ball. So like, again, really good stamping in terms of like wafer stuff. And I had to explain to people, I actually had one guy from the Evertas booth who wanted to come by the booth because in particular he had a cabinet lock they couldn't open. So, which we will test that in a moment with. So I had him not only I had him base practice, and once he got to 4 and picked his first Master Lock number 140, instead of going to the Master Lock number 3, I had him pick this 4 wafer lock, which is the Master Lock number 3 equivalent of wafer locks. As normally is a hutch system for a trailer that you can get at like Lowe's or Home Depot. And I taught him how to do this, and then I gave him one of these kits which had a half ball. So he's going to send me an email, hopefully in the next week or so, because he just recently emailed me that I got back to the office, and he's going to update me on if he was able to get that cabinet lock open, which I think he will, because usually cabinet locks have like 0 to no security on them. It's just kind of confusing for anyone who's never lockpicked of like how to open them without the key. So now we have the double peak, and this is where things get very, very fascinating. So the above one is Sparrow's double peak, and the one below is the double peak that was from the card kit. And even if this wasn't like stamped metal, like I was kind of hinting at earlier, you can see how not only is there an actual curve on the Sparrows between the 2 peaks, but the peaks themselves are rounded at the top. Even if this was like sandpapered or tumbled edges, the peaks on these are like, they're complete 90-degree angles. They are super pointy, and there's no curve. It's basically a giant M at this point, like a full-on, like a Greek chiseled styled M. And that's going to be fascinating, because between the hard angles and those points, I'm going to be actually shocked if this properly can rake stuff open with like a double peak. Because again, you normally want, I mean, there is a kind of a thing for certain types of locks to have more of a sharp peaks, but even then you want some sort of roundness so that you can glide between the pins. I'm kind of concerned that this type of double peak they have, this design, because, you know, it's fine if the edges are sharp, you can smooth those out, but the design of the actual peaks themselves kind of makes me worry about the viability of that pick, although maybe it'll surprise me. So we're going to find out. So again, I don't have a Sparrow's S rake or snake rake, but I do have a South Ord one. And this is another point where you can see some variances. So the top is the South Ord S rake, and the bottom is the one from our card pick. And so a couple of things. Obviously, the one from the card pick has a way bigger hump on the first bigger hump than the normal S rake, which is pretty standard for most S rakes that you get, or snake rakes they get from companies online that are full-size lock picks. But what's even more fascinating is that, so most S rakes have like the big hump, and then they have a tiny little hump at the end. This one has like a big hump, but then it ends up in a point. So in an odd way, I'm actually wondering with this S rake that instead, maybe even if we file down the tip a little bit, if you could actually accidentally use this not as an S rake, but as a hybrid pick, as like a way to like use the bump to rake pins, and then use that point to actually use it as a short hook and set pins. So due to a design flaw, they actually might have given you a way more better professional pick by using it in the way you didn't intend to. But we're going to experiment with that when we get to the actual picking part. And then finally, we have our tension wrenches. Now, ignore the fact that there is a, even though it is a factor, ignore the fact that there is a twist in mine, just because I prefer to have twists in the handle. It's easier on my fingers, and I feel like it has more feedback. But to be honest, even though this is the thinnest one, it's not that much taller than our stamped one. And the metal is, again, really solid. So this should properly hook in. It's just, obviously with this length of the normal bottom of the keyway tension wrench, and this is the smallest one I have in my kit, you have way more tension control. I'm just worried because of the simple length of this thing, which again, we're going to go over how they could design this better in a bit near the end, that I'm worried about the tension control for this. Although again, it should work for just base picking. So speaking of base picking, I'm going to reiterate some stuff about the stream, and then we're going to go and we're going to pick and work on some of these locks that I have. We're going to do this starting set. Just ignore the colored ones over here in the corner, but we're going to do this group here. We're going to start with the clear lock, then we're going to go up to base 3, and then we're going to try to pick open the super simple Master Lock 140 that I've taught 5-year-olds how to do. And then if that works, we're going to go full ham and go to all of these other crazy locks over here in the corner and see how far we can actually push the set. Maybe we'll even break something. Again, I have a billion of these cards. Let's find out. But before we get into that, once again, I always love a lively chat. So if you have any questions about what we're going on, how you can get a pick like these, which give you a hint, either come to the October 24th open house at Hack Manhattan, or pay attention to the stream, because hopefully we'll be able to do a giveaway at the end during the live stream. If not, I'll do it as a separate thing later, just because weird day for streaming. But if you have any questions about anything, including what techniques I'm doing, even off-topic stuff like, you know, where do I get a lockpicking kit, or help, I'm having a problem with this lock, please let me know in chat. Otherwise, if you're here to lurk and learn, then keep lurking and keep learning. Also, if you like the content that you see being live streamed here, you can go follow us and subscribe to us completely for free on Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, Odyssey, and Kick. Except for, thanks for mentioning that. So the open house at Hack Manhattan's on Tuesdays and Thursdays start at 7. It's technically supposed to go between 7 to 10, but I'm going to be completely honest. While you should get there near start and somewhere between 7 and 9, they tend to go past 9 just because the members here tend to hang out and either get really excited about their projects or drink booze or a combination of both. So a lot of people at the open house usually end up staying longer by default, but I definitely would recommend get there between 7 to 9, and the earlier or the closest you can get to 7, the better. And in terms of the lock picking, I'm here with the locks every second and fourth Tuesday. So this upcoming one, which is the second one for this month, is going to be on the 24th. But again, I still recommend showing up. Even if you show up on a Thursday and I don't have the locks, you know, it's a really cool space. There's a lot of other cool projects going on. You can check that out. What happened?
He's on a call.
Oh, okay. I thought I did something wrong. So, anyhow, what was I saying before? So, yeah, and if you get the what was it called? If you get the notification when you subscribe, you get notifications of when we properly live stream. Which I should mention, if you are on YouTube, make sure to click that bell and turn on all notifications, aka the bell completely filled in, because holy crap, YouTube is a poorly coded piece of shit from inception, and they freaking hate their content creators and users, which is why they don't do that by default. So, without further ado, let's see how well this stuff works. So, by a comparison, this is the clear lock, and again, this is obviously like, you know, plastic, completely different feel, but this is designed as an instructor's tool, as me as an instructor to demo to people, to be the shittiest lock on the planet. So if these tools don't, bills have been hit, so if these tools, and thank you for that, and thank you for the subscribe, even though for some reason it didn't pop up. I should investigate that later. Yeah, they're all on up here, so I have no idea what's going on. Let me actually get rid of this thing in the meantime. That's weird. Maybe the notification came up and I didn't notice, or maybe you subscribed and you didn't turn the bell on earlier. So either way, thank you for doing so. But this is designed to be the shittiest lock on the planet, so I can demo stuff to people. So my thing is that if I can't open this plastic Chinese lock that's 6 pins and has the most flat bitting next to an actual commercial master lock, I don't know what to tell you with this pick set. So by comparison, let's use some normal picks. So we're going to start off with the short hook. So we're doing my normal tension wrench, and we're going with the short hook, which is interesting because I used to just use short hooks, but now I'm more partial, I guess, like a lot of other lock pickers, that before I ever go to the short hook, I have a hybrid pick, which is a hybrid between, it's basically a short hook with a half diamond on the end of it. This weird mutant monstrosity. We have an open. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me do that again. Let me actually tilt the camera up a bit more and do that again, so that you can properly see, so you're not thinking I'm bullshitting. But yeah, so like I don't even use the short hook. There we go. I don't even use the short hook as much as I want to anymore, simply because I just always default to the half diamond first. If there's a particular thing, there we go, we have the open, then I will actually use the real short hook. So now that I've demoed that my normal short hooks work, let's attempt to use these picks that we just poked out. And I'm already probably not going to have fun with the edges. So the first thing is, similar to my shortest short hook, I have to actually well, first of all, I think the keyway is so wide on this that it's not properly hooking. Let's see where I can get a grab somewhere. Yeah, because this is my worry about thought, was that even though it's solid metal, the point is kind of like, if you look above, because again, this is the thinnest short hook I have. It's kind of too thin. Like I have one that's similarly super thin, but that's for like high security locks. You're not supposed to use these for like normal giant keyways. So I'm either going to have to, I think, tension it upwards like this, or I might have to bootleg top of the keyway tension it, which is a little difficult. So I'm going to actually do it like this and use my thumb. Hold on, how did I have this hooked in? Wait, I thought I had it. Hang on. Yeah, this is wow, this is really annoying to frickin' tension. It's almost like there's almost no tension. Look, I'm just free spinning here. There we go. Now I have something. All right, let's hope that holds. So this is me trying to tension this with this. So right now, I can definitely tell you right now, the Achilles heel with this thing is definitely the tension wrench, which is funny because that's the Achilles heel for most things. And we're going to go in with the short hook, and we're going to pick this. And I already see that the shorter profile of this pick is throwing me off, as well as the weird way that I'm tensioning it. Also, the corners of these tools are definitely getting stuck on even this super wide keyway. So I'm struggling a bit against that. So let's see. So we have that set. That one is almost set. All right, there. I think we almost got it. Oh, there we go. Turn, and we got an open. So this does work. It's just a lot getting used to, mainly because of both inherent and unintentional design flaws in this. So that was the short hook. Now we're going to do the half diamond. And again, let's do the my normal short hook with my normal half diamond, which funny enough, when I started, so fun thing, when I started picking, I actually started off with a half diamond, and that used to be my main pick. Now, and I gradually moved towards hooks, but I still have a half diamond on me because it's good to have a good selection of tools, in my opinion, and also just because, especially when I deal with door locks, and I'm like, oh, it might be low security, I just do zipping, and it opens. So that's a whole thing right there. And we're going to do both. I'm going to pick with the normal, first I'm going to attempt the tension. I'm going to pick with the half diamond that was provided, and I'm also going to then do a zipping technique and see if we can open it that way. So, oh, I was accidentally be able to bomb the tension keyway this. If it wasn't for that little hitch thing at the bottom, I don't think any of this would have actually worked. It would have just been a fail for a tension. Oh, this is the hook. Let's get the half diamond, and again, this is the same exact profile as my real half diamond. It's just way shorter, so we should have actually similar, if not better, results than the... Oop, I just lost the tension on it. This is going to be a thing, isn't it? Let's go back to the way we tensioned it before. And again, these aren't supposed to be your main lock picks. They're supposed to be used basically during emergency situations where you don't have your normal picks on you and you just need lock picks and you don't have like bobby pins or something. So yeah, it's definitely the same exact head profile, so I'm having a slightly easier time. It's just the edges really catching on to like the inside of the actual tumbler. Okay, I think I have it almost there. So that's set. If I can get this front one, there we go. And we got an open. So that was me picking with the half diamond. That was honestly a way easier experience than the short hook. The short hook was like truly catching on everything. I think because of how low profile the half diamond is, it sort of almost negates all the hard edges on this. And let's do the zipping, which honestly should probably go really easy and simple as long as it doesn't catch on to things. So here's a couple of zips. Yep, and actually the tension actually fell off again. I thought I had an instant open and was like, ooh, I'm really impressed. But we're now having the other problem. See what I talked about? Now, this is spring steel 25 thousandths of an inch. I want to say, even though I don't have the claspers with me because they're all the way over there and we might do this afterwards, I'm going to guess this is either 20th to 18 thousandths of an inch. And because of the type of steel, the tension wrench is already warping and bending. So it's already like just not lasting. And that's why I tell people, again, these are emergency picks. This is only supposed to last either a couple of picks or like a maximum a week before they just start turning into garbage. So we're already having that problem. If this tension wrench ends up going completely bunk, I will still continue everything else, but I'll use a normal tension wrench. And in fact, I will be right back in a couple of seconds because I'm going to attempt to grab a pair of like needle nose pliers or something in order to correct this, because this really bent. Let's see, what do we have? We have cables, screwdrivers.
I'll be back.
Okay. I may or may not be streaming when you get back. So let's see. Oh. Where are these things?
You still live?
Yep.
Mic on?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh.
Actually, you might be able to help. But do we have needle nose pliers floating around here?
Yes. Xander was literally just talking with a pair.
As you do with needle nose pliers.
He dropped them somewhere, but
Either way, we have them.
Oh,
This is our wall.
I keep forgetting this wall.
Stuff like that. Yeah, we have that brand.
This is-
a bunch of them.
And this is, I just realized you gave me pink handled ones, and I was about to say this is the perfect size. Ha! Welcome to the Master of Unlocking stream of endless innuendos because we're fucking doing locks. So yeah, I'm
Hey,
gonna.
happy
So,
Locktober.
yes, so yes, that meme's coming up soon. Don't worry. In
Happy
fact,
Locktober.
the funny thing is, I've been literally. That's actually been an episode I've been wanting to do in the most tasteful
Dude,
way.
you should. You can get one. You can
Yeah,
get
no,
actual
yeah,
item.
no. You know what's
for
crazy?
$20 on
So,
Amazon.
funny aside, and trust me, I'll go back to this. This, by the way, welcome to Conversations at Hack Manhattan. The so the hard part, pun not actually intended for once, is that most of those type of things, because if you know, you know. They use a tiny external lock, like some of the Fortress ones that I have, instead of a built-in one. I know where to get. It's a 3-pinned one that's built in, and even better, you can put a custom logo on it. So I'm totally going to have the DCG 201 logo on this thing, and it's just going to sit in my kit and have people look at it very confused. And I will do an episode that's probably going to be, unfortunately, next year, just because of all the stuff going on this year. And that I'll either do that for October itself, or I'll do that during Pride. Okay, so I fixed it, but if this thing breaks or gets warped to the point where I can't stand it anymore, and again, thank you for the needle nose pliers, I will then use the normal tension wrench, but still continue to use these other picks. So where do we get to next? So, oh, we still need to do the zipping. So let's see if I can like actually get a tension on here. Okay, let's hope this works. So we're going to tension it again. This seems to be like the optimal way. Honestly, I think a bobby pin would work better as a tensioner. We're going to do a couple of zips like I did with the bigger ones and see if we can. There we go. Open. So it took, unlike that first one, which literally took one zip and it opened, this took like 2 or 3, but it still zipped open, and it honestly probably zipped open and it bent a little bit more again, faster than actually single pin picking it with the half diamond. So again, it's a good half diamond because of its head profile. It's just, again, it's shorter and the edges really get in the way, but it gets less in the way of the short hook just because it has a lower profile. So now we're getting into rakes, and first I'm going to do the double peak. And this is where things should be really fascinating, because it's either going to go exactly how I think it's going to go, or I'm going to be like shocked in hopefully a good way instead of a bad way. So again, we're going to put in my smallest tension wrench, which is a little hard to tension in this large keyway for this clear lock, but it still works. And I'm going to take, this is my double peak that is from Sparrows with its rounded edges for optimization. And hi everyone watching a live stream. So here we go. And the thing is also, and I already got an open, the thing about the double peak, this has 6 pins. So normally I would only use the double peak if I know there were 4 or less pins in it. Once you get especially to 6 pins, the triple peak reaches better. With the double peak, or even worse, a snake rake, you really have to know what you're doing and really go really fast at the front and the back, or even in sections, in order to actually open multiple pins like that. So that is how it goes. I will do it one more time just because raking happens really fast. So I'm going to get a, I'm going to tension this. Come on, hook. There we go. There we go. And we got an open. So that was, because again, this is smooth and that type of curved profile. That's why, this is why even for the double peak, I like the Sparrows one. It's optimal. Even the South Ord one would do well. Now, let's use not only this bootleg tensioner, but let's use this double peak with its really pointed, sharp edges and corners. And either this is going to be really gnarly and nasty, and hell, I might even cut myself, or this actually might work as good as the other double peak. Let's find out. So we have this tensioned, and I'm going to go in and do the same motion, and pressure is brushing my teeth. Also because of the shorter handle. Oh, it actually did it. So I will say it was catching, and the shortness of it really had to put in, but it actually opened it almost nearly as fast as my actual double peak that's supposed to be a lot better. So it both went exactly like I expected and also colored me impressed. So, you know, I guess just, you know, the double peak profile in general works. I still think they should probably use a more rounded one, because even with the sharp corners, that would help. But let's just do it again just to make sure that wasn't like a complete fluke. So we go in, and I'm going to rake it. I also noticed that I really have to like push up halfway on the pins before I rake it, so that way it like properly engages. And you hold it at like the base end tip, because if you hold it in the middle, you're not going to reach all the pins. So here we go. And unfortunately, I lost the tension on it, and I have to now fix the bend in it. There we go. Making all the quiet noises today. Hey, at least this is more quiet than that lock. Or the only way I had to test it, I actually had to install it in a door. That was loud and hilarious as shit. So here we go again. And it opened. Wow. So believe it or not, so even though this profile definitely can be improved over the Sparrows one, this actually worked only like a second or a half less faster or slower than the professional Sparrows double peak. So color me, like, it does still have its flaws, but color me surprised in its effectiveness. So really impressed there, to be honest. So we're going to keep moving on to rakes, and we're going to go, because we're saving the ball rake for last, we're going to go on to the S rake. Now again, short profile. So the thing about it is that this is 6 pins, so I really have to like do a do-si-do dance in order to like properly open this 6 pinner. So especially because I have this huge candle, I have to go like really back and forth in order to engage all the pins, and it still might take me a bit. There we go. So it opened. We're going to do that again. So drop the tension, add the tension back. Here we go, S rake time. There we go. So it opened. Now, again, what I'm fascinated by is I want to try 2 things with this S rake. I want to, A, use it like a normal S rake and see how it compares with my South Ord one in my kit. But even more importantly, I want to see if I can, even though this is a crappy lock by design, I want to see if I can use this as a hybrid pick in which basically come on, tension here, you bastard. In which basically I can, I will do like 1 or 2 rakes in order to get to the shear line, and then using that tip in order to do the individual pins. Might have to wave to him. So here we go. We're going to now just use it as an S rake. And it actually did open as good as the normal rake, which is what I thought it would, because of how big that actual hump is compared to the normal one. It actually did it slightly faster than the one in my kit, so that's actually kind of impressive. Let me just sit now. There's just enough less of a bend that I could do this one more time, and then we're going to try the whole hybrid pick thing that I theorized. It's just trying to get attention on this. I think for all the future ones, after this set, I'm going to give up with the included tension wrench and just use my normal tension wrench, but use the actual card picks. So let's go in. Let's do that S raking again. Again, the corners catch, so it's a little bit more difficult. Come on. And actually now, because I have a smaller keyway because of how this hooked on, the hump's kind of getting in the way. Almost there. Oh, come on. There we go. We have an open. And that really warped it, so now I'm going to go with the pliers and correct it as best as I can. There we go. Now, the last thing I want to try with this weirdly shaped S rake is I want to see if we can do what's called a hybrid pick method. So I'm going to get my actual Medusa hybrid pick, which, to be honest, it can only fit in so few keyways because of how huge this goddamn pick is, even though it has absolute beautiful etching design in it. But this is what a hybrid pick looks like. And you would use this like both ways. So you would rake on the 2 humps and then take it out, turn this over to the point side, and then single pin pick. The thing about this S rake is because the point's so huge on the end, I think I can rake and then pick all on the same side without removing it. So by comparison, once again, let's use my smallest tensioner. And also for the future ones, I'm going to use my normal large tensioner just because it catches better and I'm more used to it. So we're going to attempt a hybrid pick just because this lock's shitty, so it might instantly open. So I'm going to, so that's most of them to the shear line, and I'm going to go in with my point on the other side, move a couple of pins, just that first one, and it opened, because that's what you would do in a competitive thing with a hybrid pick. And now we're going to try this with the really crappy S-rake, and I have an odd feeling that, yes, you can actually unintentionally use this S-rake as a hybrid pick. If for some reason you wanted to be like that asshole that like plays the touchpad game using your mouth, that, you know, you bring a boxing glove to a gunfight, you are using a lockpicking, and I just lost attention, son of a bitch. You bring the lockpicking card to a actual lock sport competition. So hopefully this is tension. So let's hybrid pick this. So using the same side, so first we're gonna, so that's most of the position. Actually, I lost the tension. Come on. Find the tension, there we go. Oh, no, damn it. Okay, I hope this works. So again, we're gonna go in. So we're gonna use the hump part to rake this, so most of them are at the shear line, and then I'm going to go in with that point, and I'm going to move the remaining ones into their positions, and hopefully, yep. So what's crazy about this S-rake is this is probably honestly the MVP out of this entire card, that literally because they made the S-rake too big, and they made too big of a point at the end, they made it point up instead of pointing down, that this S-rake, you can both use it as a perfectly normal S-rake for the most part, as long as you have a wide enough keyway, but you can actually use this as a high-end competitive hybrid pick if you were crazy enough, or maybe if you attach this to a handle like your COVID instruments tool because it has a little hole or whatever, and use it. I just think that's absolutely hilarious. So we were correct in that. It's basically you get a S-rake and a hybrid pick in one. So last but not least, we have the ball rake, and of course I don't have a clear lock, but I am going to use this for, and by the way, we're over half done with the episode, by the way. I'm going to use this 4 wafer padlock, which is the equivalent of like a master lock number 3. So I'm going to tension this really stupidly at the, oh, sorry, let's use the normal tension first. So you would use mostly your normal tools you put in your normal tensioner. It's only one-sided with the wafer, so I'm going to grab my ball rake, and I can either, my ball pick, and I can either rake this in the same way like you do with a half diamond. I could zip it and rake it, or I can single wafer pick it, in which that's what I'm going to do here. So let's see. Hold on, just making sure I get the tension right here. So we go. I think it's this one. Let's try this again. Whoop, and there we go, opened. So that's my half ball with my normal tension wrench. So what should be really fascinating is let's put this bullcrap tension wrench, which is seriously the worst tension wrench I think I've ever used in my life. Which, you know, says a lot, because we've dealt with some, you know, crappy Chinese Amazon tools on the show. So believe it or not, this actually hooked immediately, probably because there's so many little like point chokes in there, and it's also slightly thinner than the insanely wide keyway of this pin and tumbler clear one here. It's way wider than that. So it actually did hook. And now we're going to take the ball rake, which normally you have the ball because it's both sides, but obviously it's only going to do it on one side. And we're going to go in, and we're going to do the same sort of single wafer picking. And then I'm going to actually rake it, and I might actually do a hybrid of raking it and picking it. And what makes this really difficult, honestly, is how how short these picks are. And also because this is a full ball, it's really difficult to get in. I can actually just start raking it. Nope. And I lost the tension in it. So let's retension it. God, with it being so short, it's actually really difficult. I was both expecting yet not expecting that. I thought this was going to be the MVP, and it turned out to be the S rake. Yeah, the corners are really making it catch on the wafers, which is honestly a bad thing. I'm actually going to now fully switch over to the normal tension wrench that I have, and I'll get a bigger one later on, just so that I can try to attempt to focus on the pick itself. Yeah, the non-pressed corners are really catching, but it did open it after a bit, and of course it's the full ball, it's hard to get out. So that was a preview. So we do know that even though it's not perfect, all these picks do work as intended. Short hook is an okay short hook, not as good as a full short hook. Half diamond, besides the short profile, same exact head as a South Ord, really good. Really disappointed so far with the ball, just because of the sharp edges, and the short handle actually makes it really harder to use. We then have the MVP, the most valuable pick, which is this S-Rake, where literally due to a design flaw, it both works really good as a normal S-Rake, providing again the keyway, and as a hybrid pick that you don't have to turn around. So this is actually my favorite one so far, due to its versatility. The shockingly good double peak that I thought was actually going to be our worst pick before I got to the ball pick, but despite sharp edges and sharp corners, it actually did rake the thing really well. And then honestly, one of the worst tension wrenches I've ever used in my life. So just because I'm getting I need to check on one or two things, and I'm kind of getting a little bit like my eyes are wigging out, I'm going to stop this for a bit and stare at the ceiling. We'll be back again for another 30 seconds to a minute, and when we do that, we're going to go through proper locks this time. We're going to go through our base 1 through 3s. We're going to try to open a master lock 140 here, and if we can get through that, we're then going to try a bunch of different type of, sorry, I just brought that one, a bunch of different types of locks of varying sizes and complexities, strengths and securities, and we are going to see how well, including even these handcuffs, which is an interesting experiment, how well these work on a range of different things that I have, and see where I expect them to fail if they actually fail, where if they succeed, they might succeed, and maybe just like two of the picks in this set, they might surprise me in both good and bad ways. So let me just give my eyes a quick rest, and we will be right back after these messages that don't exist. So enjoy the music, everyone. See you in about a minute.
imagination began to build a new art form. Makes me feel I belong to something.
I feel it, got me deep in your love. I feel it deep in my soul. I feel.
Okay, so apparently I turned back the audio as someone ended up talking through the quantum continuum on the other side of the room, but I'm back here now. Let's go back to our desktop. Thank you for being patient. My eyes aren't wigging out anymore. So, as I said before, what we've been doing is, after I did some Uncle story time with Sidepocket, we have been checking out these business cards from the Evertas crypto group, which they're a set of temporary lockpicks stamped out in metal card format. We took apart one and we compared it to the picks from my normal pick set. And this is the aftermath of it, where we have a useless card frame outside of like some semi-okay Allen wrenching type stuff. And we're going to finish the stream before we hopefully do the giveaway at the end. If not, again, I will extend the giveaway into the comment section post-stream on YouTube. I have a couple of locks here. I have a 1-pinner, a 2-pinner, a 3-pinner, and a Master Lock Num 40, which has 4 pins and is super basic to pick. And I just want to see if I can get through these. And if I'm able to get through these, I will then start bringing out more and more progressively insane, crazy locks, including some locks that I think either might be really good or might be really terrible with these Lockpicking Card short stamp out picks. And we'll see how we do. And because I can already tell you right now, my review, this tension wrench is a complete waste of time and garbage, we're going to use a normal tension wrench. And in fact, I'm going to even put my super small one away, which I normally use for, which I might be using later for one thing, very small keyways. I'm going to use my giant normal size pry bar type bottom of the keyway tension wrench that I pretty much use for everything because it's super comfortable and actually tension shit. So I might switch to the half diamond, but I'm going to stick with the short hook. So we'll see if this does the base pin number 1 at first. Again, this should be interesting because, and this is already happening right now, is the edges are so goddamn sharp. They're sharper than any of like the Amazon Chinese products I got. That it's basically like catching on to like the warding of the edges. There we go, edges and warding of the keyway. So we got an open on base 1. Let's do it for a second time to make sure it's not a fluke. Because normally I would just reach in, instantly push that pin and it's there, but I have to actually like, it almost, this wide keyway almost becomes paracentric keyway, literally because of how sharp the edges are on the, because again, these are for emergencies. You're not supposed, despite what lockpicking lawyer tells you, you're not supposed to be using this particular type at this type of like stamped out type of grade steel as like your normal pick set. This is just, I don't have any bobby pins and I need lockpicks ASAP. That's what this is for. So now we're going to do a base 2. And yeah, it's really catching. Let's go to that first pin. That's definitely set. I'm trying to get to the one behind it, but it's just catching onto like all the sides and stuff here. Ah, might have to reset this in a second. Okay, so I've resetted it. Let's try this again. It's like I basically have to like curve around the pin and then reset my hands, and it's also bending, by the way, as I'm picking this, so it's kind of hard to see, but it's already like making a slight bend curve. So while it is sturdier steel, it's not the sturdiest. It's definitely not stainless pressed steel 25 thousandths of an inch like a normal pick set would. So just be mindful of that when using these, especially if you end up winning these things either in person or online from me. Still really good. Again, better than nothing. It's a really cool business card idea, and we're going to go over at the end some of the things they could do for like their batch redesign 3 of these, which is what they want to do in order to improve this set. God, struggling with this base number 2. I feel like I've gone back to like me starting out like 6 years ago, just because, there we go, simply because like this is how long this would take when I started lockpicking like 6 years ago, just because of like how much, like how short these are and how particularly the edges, they're just so sharp to catch on to things. And look how much it's bent so far. Like this is like, I'm not even doing like Hulk strength or anything, and it's just becoming really loose. Welcome back. I'm still live streaming. I'm almost done though. Also with the short hook, again, the profile on this is very much, it's actually might be better as like a more high security thing because it has like a really good curve reach to it, which would be good for like setting those like higher pins behind lower pins, but it's kind of terrible with like flat bitting. So I open this once. Let's see if I can open it again. There we go. So a little bit faster the second time, but that was still a struggle just because of the sharp edges. It's like, again, this normal wide keyway that I'd be able to pick in a couple of like seconds or even under a second almost becomes like a paracentric keyway simply because of the sharp edges, and like me having to go from pin to pin is like a struggle because it just catches on to everything. So this is where we're starting to get to like a normal lock profile. So this is definitely going to be a struggle. And again, I don't really have much to like grab onto here, so that's why I keep bending it, and there's like different ways. Now I will say the profile itself so far is not bending. It is very sturdy up and down on that profile, so it's not like I'm unbending the hook straight. It's the side to side stuff that's actually like warping and bending, which, you know, up to a certain point, which is why I'm mainly thinking with that bottom of the keyway tensioner that it could just freaking break at some point. So I am kind of being like semi-delicate with this, while kind of still having to be stiff with it because, one, I don't really have much to grab, so I have to use more force, which becomes a problem because it keeps catching on to everything inside of the lock, just because like I kind of almost want to revisit this with like when I buy my new sandpaper sponge, because I lost the old ones, and revisit this and see if I can sand these down into something that's like actually like more usable and comfortable to hold. I will say that while I'm struggling with only 3 pins on these pick sets, that if you like the content that you see so far and you want to get support the channel and want to get reminders for when we go live in the future, besides following all of our social media at the link tree I posted, you can follow us, share and subscribe to us on Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, Odyssey, and Kick. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to hit that bell and turn all notifications on. That means that bell is completely filled in gray or black or whatever, because yeah, YouTube sucks and they don't do that by default because they hate everybody. And again, I love, now thankfully, by the way, I'm not getting cuts by any of these hard edges, but it does feel very uncomfortable in my hand. I would say the comparison is like holding on to the edges of a normal CD and then hanging on to like a Wii U disc if you ever grab one, because they have like rounded edges on them. No. I actually want to use these as like just the way they're printed out, just so it's like if someone used them and took them out, how it would be. I'm just saying, especially because this is also me milking a potential future episode, that it would be interesting to like go back and sand these down smooth and see how much that improves. I mean, you still have the problem of how short these there we go. See, that took so long. Again, this if you wanted to see like baby side pocket starting off with locks 6 years ago, this is literally what it looked like. So this is kind of a fun thing. Yeah, YouTube hates everyone. You can all, if there's one thing we can all agree on, as much as like everyone's throwing political poo around on YouTube, it's that YouTube fucking sucks.
They're equal opportunity.
Yeah, it's like being Polish. It's like you're proud of being Polish, but you also hate Poland. It's like that sort of thing. It's that type of energy. So now we're going to do a 140. Oh, like I said, I also love a lively chat. So if you have any questions or comments, definitely let me know in chat. But if you also just want to lurk and learn, or lurk and wait for the hopeful raffle at the end, because we just need a little bit more people and I'll be satisfied. As I always say, keep lurking and keep learning. So a fun little factoid about the Master Lock 140s. The Master Lock 120 140s, and by the way, the number difference is the height of the shackle. The 140s have a shorter shackle, have a slightly taller shackle than the 120s, and I believe there's a 160 that has like a ludicrously long shackle on it, but it's literally the same lock body and innards. And what's interesting about the 140s is, you know, I keep saying that I always tell people that I feel that the 120s, and most people agree with me, even other lock pickers, are slightly easier than the Master Lock number 3s. Mainly because the Master Lock number 3s has a stronger spring and you can get stuck also on these little rivets. Well, the weird part about, and this is so perplexing, and it's such a Master Lock thing, that the 120 through 160 series, or let's sum it up, say Master Lock 140, actually has a security spool pin as one of the driver pins. So the Master Lock 1 through 5s just have normal key pins and driver pins. The 120, 40s, and 60s actually have a single security spool pin in it, but it is so shittily implemented in every single one of these that it basically acts like a normal driver pin, so it literally doesn't matter. It's like a seatbelt that has a pre-built cut in it. It's like, yeah, your car has a seatbelt in it, but it literally has, it's so shittily made that it might as well just not have a seatbelt in it. It's that type of design. So what's weird is that on paper, the 140 should be higher security and thus higher in rank than the number 3s, but they don't, because their security function is so poor. Basically, they take one step forward and 80 step backwards. So that's kind of funny in my opinion. Alright, so I'm really struggling with this 140. Which is funny, because after this I'll use a normal lockpick, and provided that this is also not like, because I haven't lubed or oiled these in a while, provided it's not that, I should open it way faster with my normal picks. But yeah, this is getting annoying here. Trying to pick this open with this hook. And it's like literally catching on to everything. Like, I can feel everything. That's the problem, is because it's so sharp edges, I can like feel more than what I want to feel, because it's catching literally on everything. Alright, I'm actually going to stop at the short hook, and I'm actually going to try the half diamond and see if anything improves. The beatings will continue until morale improves. Watch, now we're gonna get like freaking DMC'd because I just like did a beat in the first couple of lines from a KMFDM song. Even though I'm pretty sure KFMDM doesn't like give a shit because they're that type of band. Seen them live. It's pretty cool. You're good. Whoop. You're good. Oh yeah, trust me. I've had these fall from like tops of buildings. You're fine. It's actually, if there's one thing that Master Lock is like actually mostly good for, is that when they talk about like security and hard and tough, yeah, like you like if you get one of like these, like not the boron carbide ones, but like a thick shackled one, especially if it's that that hexagonal cut. Like firefighters literally need to have a diamond cut saw. It takes a minute or a minute and a half to saw through the shackle. So yeah, they are like not the threes and stuff, but like the actual like hardened, especially the boron carbide ones. They are really saw resistant, like impact resistant, things like that. They'll last a long time outside in the winter and shit. The problem is that they just have trivial ass cores that are easy to pick, just like everything, like most things with Master Lock, I should say. One of these days I'm gonna have a splurge of goddamn money and I'll finally get on eBay a Master Lock number 19, because the Master Lock number 19, Master Lock number 19 is an actual by accident high security lock that Master Lock used to make. It is literally twice the size of this Master Lock number 15. Because that's how big and heavy it is. So think of it twice the size of that. Like if you throw this at someone's face, they're dead. They're in the morgue. And it's full of security pins and crazy bitting. And it's to the point that for our lock pickers at Lockpick United, they actually rank that, if I remember correctly, as an actual like blue and or red belt. It's like that, sorry, purple belt. So it's like actually like mid to high security lock. And it's from Master Lock. And even then, like there are also recent Master Lock products that, because they've made certain functions easier for the user, I'm actually just going to start zipping and raking this because this is starting to become really annoying, that every time a lock company, especially a company like Master Lock or Kwikset, ends up making something easier for the user to do something, they actually make it more pick resistant. So like Kwikset, you know, they have a whole system that we're going to cover in the near future that I've been wanting to cover for a while. I've actually picked these type of locks, and you've seen me. Here we go. So that zipped open, so that worked. It was just single pin picking is annoying because you can't, everything gets stuck, so you can't properly leverage anything, and the thing warps. So at least we got that open. But finishing the story, so Kwikset has a whole system called the smart keying system, and because of how they have to design the core of that lock for it to smart key, meaning you can just insert a new key in order to rekey it instead of disassembling and repinning the whole lock, it's actually annoying to pick even if you're an experienced lock picker. So that's a whole thing right there. So let's progress on. Let's start going full ham before we end this episode. We're going to do a Master Lock number 3, and I'm going to go back to the hook, even though it's been really warped. I'm going to try for it. Maybe because this has a slightly smaller keyway, we might be able to get like a better... ooh, it actually opened with the short hook. Okay, so basically what happened here was, let's compare the keyways. So, yeah, so what's interesting is that because there's that actual swivel, the bottom of the lock more lines up and is closer to the pins. And because it's also a slightly smaller keyway, the Master Lock number 3 has a slightly smaller keyway than the 130. It was actually way easier to actually properly feel and pick the pins and not have them get stuck. Let's do that one more time, and then we're actually going to try to rake the number 3 open. And then let's try some really fun, funky experiments. Some experiments. Because, you know, this is the same reason why I tell... Oh, here we go. Again. So this wasn't a fluke. This actually properly picked the Master Lock number 3, even though we couldn't get the Master Lock 140 open. So this is about what I mean about, because of the nature of the steel and that these are punch-out, shorter profiles, they are very much hit or miss. Your mileage may vary on these. Now let's start going crazy. Let's do a full, mostly plastic lock. This is also a Master Lock 140. But it's entirely, the body is made out of plastic. I initially got these because I was, you know, obviously the more locks you get, the more heavier things get because they're all made out of metal. So I went on my way. I was like, I'm going to get these plastic lock bodies. So I technically have more Master Lock 140s, but they won't add too much to my weight. And while I'm still probably going to get a second set, The funny thing is, because they're mostly plastic, as well as other weird design things, I actually find these plastic 140s to be significantly harder to pick than the entire brass 140s, ironically enough.
Hey, it's some safety, like lockout, tag out locks.
Yeah, that's going to be in another entire future episode, because I'm slowly getting my hands out of a lotto lock. I guess while I try to zip and pick this open, I'll explain. So lockout, tag out locks are familiar to people who use heavy machinery, and they're designed so that when a person is not using a piece of machinery anymore, that the lock will properly be installed on the piece of equipment so that there's no way to properly start it. So what?
They're typically when it's broken.
Okay.
That's
just trust me.
The
Yeah.
use case, but
Yeah.
you can use them in that way.
No, like that's what I'm describing is that's what they're supposed to be used for. I wouldn't be surprised in practice. It's the please don't turn this on or the machine explodes because Dave fucked it up.
It's
So
not
yeah.
good practice though.
Yeah. So it's like, you know.
So this machine is broken, and if used, may kill you.
Yeah, and I will say though that when I worked at the Bergen County Courthouse, we did use our lotto locks the way they're intended. So it also might be depending on not only what type of job you're doing, but like individually between like a company or organization. So like obviously a courthouse would more use what they're traditionally used for than probably like some sort of like warehousing business or something. That would not surprise. And again, like even with our thing, when we went to our external warehouse, you're not supposed to ride the lifts. We rode the lifts.
Oh yeah.
Because it was just way easier to do.
It's
and like
sitting
yeah.
on the fork of the forklift.
Yeah. It's just basically as long as you're not sitting underneath the lift, you're good. That's the whole point. Which, you know,
jump in the pit.
Yeah, exactly. Deviant, when he talks about elevator hacking and lockpicking, he has there's a hilarious British PSA of like the please don't go through the exit door and right on top. That like look up the elevator hacking thing in general, because it was a beautiful. I got to see that live at Hope as it was going on. But he did that multiple columns, so you just type in elevator hacking or elevator hacking Deviant and it will pop up. Yep. And that whole panel was just amazing. So I'm actually going to go to the double peak and the S-rake here, and then if not, I'm going to give up on this one, and we're just going to keep going. Because there's also some experiments. Oh, see, when I talk about these sharp corners, this is really hard to catch. Rock it back and forth a bit. It's like it's almost giving. But it's catching horribly. It's like plastic on plastic is not like the best idea. All right, let's try the S-rate because it might be smoother, and then I give up. It's catching so much. But yeah, so the thing about lotto locks, which is why a lot of lock sporters use them, even though they're not supposed to technically have them, is that they're normally chocked full of security pins and interesting like security biddings. So it's really funny because it also tells you like a purpose of a lock, because like lotto locks are great for if you just have basic bitches running like a factory and you don't want them to start machines. But even though they have all these security pins, they make terrible actual security locks because except for one type that Master Lock makes, which is basically a repinned American lock, most lotto lockout tagout locks are entirely made out of plastic, except for sometimes maybe the shackle, which is hilarious because there's actually a video that a fellow lock sporter of mine made where they asked him like, hey, how do you get all these lotto cores for your practice? And he just simply has a video of a lockout tagout lock in a vise, and then he takes a high-end blowtorch to it and it melts and breaks apart in seconds. So you wouldn't probably want to use a lotto lock to like lock the front of your store, but if you don't want like kids or full or adult kids to fuck around with things, they're a pretty good idea if they can't think of blowtorching it to death and then figuring out that, oh wow, this machine cuts your fingers off. So the next thing that I want to try is I have these cutaway locks that have security pins. So we've already tried a bunch of normal pins. Let's see how well these like supposed temporary picks do against I probably should get my we're just going to try with the bottom of the keyway tension way. I usually find that security stuff works better when you have top of the keyways, but I just want to see how this crappy short hook and some of the other picks might do against like this entire cutout lock that is full of spool pins. Thank you, phone. So it's more about is definitely more about technique. And yeah, the fact that it's like cutting into everything is making this really annoying. Trying to get to this back one here, and it's just catching onto every pin. It's like basically what I've learned with these type of locks is that it just turns every single thing into a paracentric keyway because of how much it just literally sinks its teeth into everything. Oh, almost overset that one. So we have that. I can't tell if you're... Nope, you just fell. So I have to go up underneath you. No. I already got your back one here. So now I need you. Okay. Oh, we actually opened chock full of spool pins. That's what I was hoping for. Is despite this being catching to everything, when it comes to security pins, it's less more about the right tools for the actual security pins. It's more about recognizing the pins and using the correct technique. Now, you can have certain tool designs that make things easier or better to use, but in general, like me knowing that, oh, there's counter rotation, so I have to like let off the tension on these until the spools are straight and then push them down again in order to open this type of lock is way more useful than the fact that this is like an okay profile with terrible steel tolerances. And it's really just trying to get that just dropped. It's really just trying to get those two back pins to behave. There we go. And this one keeps oversetting here. Let's just drop everything down again. As I'm doing the spools again, I'm trying this. We're going to go to serrated next. I'm just curious. But yeah, I'm actually impressed that these temporary ones actually managed to defeat this entirely chock full of spool pins practice lock that I have here. And it's all brass except for the Dremeled part. So my hands are cramping, so I'm going to give up on this. Let's take I'm not going to go to music, but let's take a short break. Let's do some hand stretches. You can actually see, it's only like the very first layer of skin, so there's no real cuts, but you can actually see where like the corners and the edges of the picks are like nipping into my hands. And to be fair, you would basically use these once and then throw them away or put them away. I'm like extending using them because I'm testing them like the moron I am. So you know, you're not supposed to be like extensively using these things, despite again what Lockpicking Lawyer said. His Lockpicking Lawyer's hand carry for a while was he had tools, the Open Organizational Lockpickers, TOOL, tool with 3 O's, Lockpick card punch-outs, which are way higher quality, even though they still have the same flaws as a punch-out card. And he put those like on a little handle spindle, so it turned into like his own personal jackknife, and that's how he got... Those were his daily picks, and then he basically took that design and made it into that multi-pick covert instruments tool. So these are serrated, and like I said with technique, the thing about serrades is that you basically have to push them up into position one notch at a time. And the reason why I kind of wanted to do serrated is because a problem with this particular one of these days I'm going to have to get a new pin. Oh, sorry, I'm going to have to get a new key, a new SC1 key, a new Schlage key, and then repin it to that key, because unfortunately Sparrows went so crazy with this bidding design on this key that unfortunately, unless you have like a super crazy type of pick, the only way you can actually set the one in the back is by actually going through the back of the keyway, because there is no way you can reach and lift that back section in order to move all of these. So I actually wanted to try this serrated one because since it has that issue and these picks are way smaller profile, I'm trying to see if that would actually help trying to pick this one in the back. And now I finally got to the back because the main problem was trying to get around that warding. So now I think it's just that first pin in the front possibly, and we should have an open on this, but let's find out. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch here, because I feel it rotating. Ooh. So we're almost there. Which one of you guys are like stuck? Okay, so none of these guys are moving in the middle. Got you. I still think it may need to go up one more notch in the front. Problem is I'm having a hard time feeling for it because it keeps catching on everything else in the goddamn lock. Let's get around that wording. Again, what's hilarious is that this is normally a really open, wide keyway, but what's kind of funny about it is that because of the sharp edges catches on everything, which is why it's a good idea to sandpaper all this crap. It's like, basically, it's like, the lockpicking card. Every keyway becomes a paracentric keyway when you use it. So I just find that hilarious. All right, so I definitely think it's that one in the front. I'm just having a hard time. I'm actually going to try using the half diamond, see if I can move it up better. We're almost done. I'm going to try like maybe 2 more locks and then a fun thing with the handcuffs with the shitty tension tool, turning tool, and see if we get a better thing. Oh, my thumb's cramping. Let's going to do some of this. All right. Let's see if we can still get that pin in the front. And again, if you like the content that you have been watching so far, if you just tuned in and you're like, oh, this is really cool, I want to learn more episodes in the future, you can, for completely free, like, share, and subscribe on all of our streaming platforms, which is Twitch, YouTube, PeerTube, Odyssey, and more recently Kick. Everything except for PeerTube, when you like, share, subscribe, or on Odyssey, when you actually send their weird cryptocurrency to us, we're supposed to get notifications and share things on. I do know, like, one person signed up on YouTube and I either missed that notification or it didn't work, which means I have to investigate it more. But let's try a little bit lighter tension on this. Up there it goes. Where was I going with this? Let's go back to that hook. God, this is like a science project right now. But if you're on YouTube, make sure that if you do sign up for our notifications, that you click that bell and make it so that it's entirely filled in, aka all notifications on, because YouTube is a piece of shit. Oh, almost moved. Let's see, which one? Which one of you fucks? Sometimes I have a bunch of really annoying pins, and all I can think of is that Spaceball quote of like, oh my god, I'm surrounded by assholes. Keep firing, assholes. And that's how I feel about these pins right now. They're like almost there. It's just like, because of like these picks and how long I've been doing this one, mainly because of how short they are, my hands are cramping than normal. And again, these picks are better than nothing. If you don't have bobby pins and you need to pick locks, that's why usually these are YouTube. Chat just said YouTube is a cunt. That should be their slogan. That's been their slogan since like 2012. So, oh man, it's so weird to load YouTube videos from like 12 plus years ago, because one, just the quality of like, cause you know, we live in this like high quality digital age, so like it's kind of weird of like, I look at like footage 4 years ago and it looks like it was filmed in like the 1990s, and I'm like, how? Like, cause I didn't notice the quality got better, but like, you know, when you're a frog and the temperature keeps increasing, you don't notice until you get nostalgic. You know, so that's already weird. But the other thing about it is like YouTube was so wholesome back then. It's like, hey, look at the sandwich I made. Or it's like a fun skit where everyone's like dressed as cardboard robots. And now when you go on YouTube, it's like, I don't know. I'm just going to put random things in my head. Like you go onto YouTube and it's like a bunch of like Nazi furs trying to make you vote U.S. libertarian and crap like that. It's just like it's just so sad what it's become. And this, by the way, I don't know why I even brought that up, but it's not even knock on furries. I'm just talking about how like it went from like fun, wholesome stuff. Like if this was furries, they would be talking about like new ears they bought, and instead now they're like talking about like how you should like invest in crypto in order to like help like the people disasters in Haiti to overthrow the government. It's just like, this is like the sad era of like what the internet turned into. So, you know, YouTube, aka YouTube is a cunt, both in terms of content and the way they run the content. The content, if you might say so itself. So basically, I'm going to give up right now. We're so close to opening this, but due to between my hands cramping because of how small these are, I'm just going to reset everything. And also just like the short pick profiles making my hands cramp, and everything. I just can't. But we did manage to twice open these spool pins, and we did get very close to the serrated pins. So they're actually putting up more of a fight than I thought they would. So I guess the last two things. Now, originally, I was going to try for the Master Lock number 15. But the thing is, that was supposed to be more of a test for this tension wrench. And let me tell you right now, first of all, yeah, this can't tension shit almost. And second of all, I already know because of how strong the shackle and spring is, this is going to snap. So I'm not even going to bother. I also, this one has like security stuff. And actually, I'll do a quick one with this guy. I'm going to use that S rake because normally what I do with this leader lock, this is the secret if you ever meet this lock in person at my training, is you're supposed to like rake these all into a false set. So that means all the normal pins in here are at the shear line. It's just the security pins left. And then you either switch out to a hook, or you, if it's a hybrid pick, you turn it into the pick position, and then you go in and you move the rest of the picks. And because this S rake kind of works as like a hybrid pick, I want to see if this actually works. So we're going to rake this on. So we're going to do medium tension. We're going to rake this into a false set. It's really hard to do again because of like how much like not long these things are. Like I want to just like glue handles to them, and it also kind of catches. All right, so now that it's in kind of a false set, I'm going to use the tip of this, and we're going to go in and we're going to attempt to single pin pick some of these picks, some of these pins, and see if we can get it open. I'm going to try it this time, and I'm going to reset it and try it again. So I'm going to reset. Let's try to do that false set again. Okay, it should be in a decent false set now. And now let's go into pick mode and see if we have any pins that are left. That one's set in. It took a little bit of effort, but that one's set in. Okay. Should be nothing in the front. Yeah, nothing's in the front. It's just the middle and the back. The sharpness of this, because I'm trying to hold this underneath, and it's like my finger is like, knife, we're using a knife, and it's like, no, it doesn't actually cut your skin. It's just that much of an edge that makes you think you are. All right, so unfortunately I can't get this guy open, but we did the old college try. The other thing I was going to honestly look into, by the way, I don't know why I have this word combination lockout. We weren't going to do anything with it. I think I just put it there and I didn't notice. Is I was also going to see, and this is actually where, now this is actually probably where this tension wrench can properly tension, because the keyhole this, oh wow, so it did finally tension, but it took a while. It's still so much of a piece of shit that it took like half a rotation before it could tension. So yeah, this is literally like the worst tension wrench I ever used ever. But I was thinking that maybe because these picks are so small, I may be able to actually pick without using my 15,000ths of an inch the this master lock on the side of this decoder lock. My problem again is that everything's catching in it, and also that like, even though the pick profile is smaller, so I can easily more insert into it, the length of the handles is still making this of a problem in order to properly move pins. Let's reset. Okay, let's try this again. Tension. Actually, I'm going to see if I can zip this open with the half diamond here. Nope. Again, good college try. This is still one of the worst fucking locks you can get. We did an entire episode about this. I'm not going to do a mortise cylinder. I'm not going to do base 5 and 6 because that should work the same way as the base 2 and base 3s. My theory is more of just like, again, these profiles, because you have to go deeper into the lock, it makes this more unwieldy, so that's why I assume. But I am going to do the same thing with this Abus, which has like 8 fucking pins in it because it's a fucking orange-ass Abus. So, but I do want to do one more experiment. By the way, same thing with the keyway with this gun lock that I had that I featured on a previous episode, small keyway. 5 pins should work, but I think we all kind of can summarize here. But I do want to try an interesting thing with these handcuffs. So let me get my my bypass out for the handcuff, which hopefully should be in my old lockpicking case that's now holds all my bypasses and all the picks that I can't properly fit into a normal. Oh, here's this guy. I was wondering where it went. Normal pick set here. So let me just dig around. And one of the reasons why I got the creeper case set is just because it's like trying to find anything in this case, because it's such a basic bitch case, is like finding a haystack in a needle factory. So got this. So this is a normal handcuff shim, and I am going to try to pick these open possibly, but normally when you put on a pair of handcuffs, the way you would shim this is that you would take this shim, which you can make out of Coca-Cola cans and stuff like that, or beer cans, and you stick that in where the where it meets in the shackle, and you push down on the shim at the same time you push down on the handcuff. When you do that, it sucks the shim into the actuator, and it creates a space between the handcuff teeth and the actuator teeth, which allows you to rotate your wrist and just slide the rest of the handcuff out. Now, my theory, and I don't care because this is like, I'm never going to use this tension wrench ever again. It's kind of a piece of shit. I wanted to see if I could use this tension wrench as the handcuff shim, because I remember when I had this out, someone mistook it for a handcuff shim at the Evertas booth, and see if it works the same way. So we're going to put on the handcuff here, right? And now, even though this is a little bent, and this is thicker steel, I think, than, although it might actually be the same. Again, I don't have the claspers on me, but this might either be the same thickness or just slightly more thick or less thicker. But let's see if we can use this as a handcuff shim. So we're going to take this, and we're going to stick this in where the shackle is. And honestly, this bend might, hang on, let's use the pliers. As we've been using these, this bend might be what would do this in. So let's put some conversion therapy on this. Let's make this as straight as possible again. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to insert that in, and I'm going to try to push down on what's supposed to be the bottom of the keyway tension wrench now straightened out. I'm going to tilt this up more. I'm going to push this in as I push the shackle in. Let's see if it works the same way. Fascinating. Oh, it actually ate it. It was difficult, but it actually ate it. Now, what I'm going to do, and actually because it's a cutaway, it more like pushed out. But if this wasn't cutaway, it would stay in. So now I'm going to hold this in, and let's see if I can move the, oh my fucking God. It's difficult. It's stiff, and the cutaway is not helping, but it actually works as a shackle bypass for the handcuffs. Hold on. I'm not going to put them on me, but I want to see if I can do it again with a non-cutaway one to see if it actually improves. So we're going to stick that in here. Okay. And we're going to put, and it's already wearing down, by the way. So we're going to push the shackle in and this in at the same time and see if it eats it. Hold on. Wrong angle. I'm worried Night Owl's watching this. He's like, are you trying to break my handcuffs? What are you doing? But no, the handcuffs are very sturdy. That's why they use them on criminals and people who aren't criminals, but the police just hate. That's eating it. It's not going all the way in, though. Let's try it mostly in. It's probably honestly because it's literally getting bent out of shape, so put that in. I'm just shocked that it worked the first time. That was amazing. So this time it's not eating it for some reason. Maybe it's because the side was open. I don't know. But so far, I am going to give it to the point of that it actually did shackle shim this open. We saw it. We documented it on camera. I have to do more research on that, and that gives me another idea of how they can actually improve this pick set. Now, the last thing I want to do with the handcuff is, let's see which tool might work the best. Let's actually, funny enough, use this S hook and see if we can use it similarly to lift the, so the S hook you can lift if I try, let's try it on the non-cutout one, to lift that actuator. course, it's also bending it. And of course, I'm not doing it with it on me. I'm going to assume that if I had this on me, it'd be difficult. But at least with the cutaway one, it was actually lifting the actuator on this thing, and I was able to actually open it. So theoretically, you could do that with, ironically, the S rake itself. So I'm going to go away for a couple of seconds. You're going to hear music for about 10 to 20 seconds, and we're going to sum up this episode. And I think what we're going to do, just to make, handcuff key, or even better, like an actual shackle shim shape, but that also requires a different thickness of steel. We're going to go over that in a moment, but I'm going to do one last break. We're going to put music on for about 20 seconds as I move the camera around. We're going to sum this up, and to be honest, while I'm actually impressed with how many people are on the live stream, I think in order to do a proper giveaway, instead of doing it on the stream, I'm going to retrofit it to do it in the comment section. So stay tuned. In the next couple of seconds, we're going to sum up what I thought of this lockpick card kit that was done by the awesome people at the Evertas crypto booth that I worked at. Which some are very obvious, some are maybe not, that they could improve this in a version 3 that I know that they want to make. So they're probably like watching the stream right now and are taking notes. And then I'm going to explain how the contest is going to work, so you can win one for yourself and futz around with them, take a picture with them, and we'll reshare it, things like that. So just give me 20 seconds, and we're going to wrap up this episode, so stay tuned. All right, let's wrap up this shindig here. Let's go to face mode. Okay, so to recap, besides telling you fun, boring stories about, not really boring, but about when I was doing being paid to teach lockpick at Mainnet, which is how I met these awesome Evertas people. I was working at their booth. That was at booth 227, and then a week later I was at the awesome Maker Faire Coney Island with all of my peeps at Hack Manhattan. We mainly focused on the big thing that happened at Mainnet that I also now give away at the Coney Island Maker Faire and also in person, and you might be able to win one online, which is the business card of Evertas, which is a set of stamped, it's a stamped lockpick card for temporary lockpicks, and we took them apart and we reviewed all of them, and I just dropped one. Where did you go? Here we go. It's that freaking ball pick, which, funny enough, it failed by falling off the table because it's the most fail. So let's review of what I think. I think overall, if you don't have bobby pins, and I've done an episode about how to remake bobby pins with like a pair of wire cutter pliers or even just your hands in order to make temporary picks that are way more sturdy and more effective, provided you can fit in the keyway. And you need lockpicks. You don't have a lockpicking kit, lockpicking card, great idea. But again, use them as emergencies, or if you forget your picks or something, do not rely on these because of the type of steel. Even though this is thicker, more sturdier steel than I thought, they're still easily bendable, and the short profiles make it difficult to hold and maneuver. And also make it hold and maneuver is the sharp edges on these. But again, you're supposed to use these as emergencies. In terms of the review of the profile, this hook is okay, but it bends and warps the most. And while it should be able to reach high-low pin setups, the problem with this hook, again, is those edges. This caught onto more things than any other pick here. The half diamond, because of its lower profile, fared better, and because the half diamond head is literally identical to the professional one I have from South Ord, it worked really also well with its zipping technique. This ball pick that works on Rafers, but it's because of how big it was and the edges caught onto the wafers too much, and this was actually my most disappointing pick out of the set, which is weird because I thought this would actually be the most impressive. On the reverse side, this double peak, because of its sharp corners and edges, I thought was going to fail the most, but it actually was just as effective as my professional double peak that's well-rounded from Sparrows. So I'm pretty sure you can literally take some 150 and plus grit sandpaper, probably 200 and above, smooth out the edges on this, and maybe install a longer handle just for comfort and use, and you actually have an extremely good double peak that you would get normally at a professional set, essentially for free. And the probably other MVP that was like the biggest shocker, even though I predict it, was this S-rake, because of its unique S-rake shape compared to other snake rakes, where not only did this work pretty well once you could fit in the keyway and in the snagged edges as an S-rake, but because of how big the hump is and that the tip points upwards instead of ending as a second hump downwards, you could actually use this as an effective hybrid pick where you can use the big bump to rake in a false set, then go in without having to remove and turn the lockpick around the pointed end in order to push individual pins. Now, how would I improve, in my opinion? And I'm going to send the same notes to the company because, again, they had a different pick series that didn't work out, and then so this is the second version of they have, and this is what's left after you pop everything out. What things off the top of my head would I be able to use to make this better for like a third revision that they've told me they really want to make? Well, a couple of things, and a big thing is maximizing the space of this printout. If you look at like tools or some of the other printout temporary lockpick cards, they use every single space of this tool for something, so you're not throwing extras away, which would actually mean having your logo, website, and information of your company on here even more useful because it's actually being used as a tool instead of an e-waste. So for one thing, it's up in the air. I mean, they could add maybe another type of pick if they got rid of the Allen wrench section, because I don't really see this being used as proper Allen wrench stuff, but you know, they could probably even still keep this. I do like the wedge in the corner, but I would sort of use more of this space. So maybe one slightly thicker metal, just slightly, it's still going to bend, but just a little bit bendy. Maybe see if they can get manufacturing that has slightly smoother edges, because you're always going to get like sharp edges with these, but this was honestly way too sharp. I kept thinking the entire time I was actually holding a knife when using them, even though it wasn't like cutting into my skin like that, but it felt like that because of how sharp the edges are. I would keep, in terms of profiles, the half diamond the same. For the ball, they should either make this a slightly smaller ball so it can fit into the keyways easier, so that way you can do single wafers more easy, or make this a half ball, because worst comes to worst, you just have to flip it around if you want to rake or pick both sides of the wafers. The full ball is just more of a lazier technique, and I think it's just such a default that they put that in there. Now, again, even though the double peak worked well as a double peak, I would personally still would rather have rounded edges on the two humps, just because again, you already have that catching with the sharpness, so rounding out the edges on a lot of these would make these like slide in a lot better, in and out better, especially this. We're gonna get back to this because literally there's no need for this. This is like the worst tension tool. We're going to replace that with something else, and I'll detail probably what I'm thinking about in a minute. This S rake can mainly stay the same, maybe make it a little less of a shorter tip or more of a rounded tip, but otherwise I'd honestly keep this. This was a big shocker. The hook, I would actually go, if we eliminate the Allen wrench, 2 types of hooks, I would still keep this low profile, maybe make this a little bit shallower and a little bit more up curved. But where the Allen wrenches should be, I think there should also be a medium hook, which would be more better on high, low, high picks as well as high security stuff. In what we would replace the tension wrench with, I am thinking that this should either be a city rake or this should be a triple peak or a Bogota to complement the double peak that's right next to it. Now, you're saying, okay, so we add 1 or 2 extra picks and that replaces this tension wrench. Where would you put the tension wrench? Well, I don't have it on me right now or online, but if you look at these cards, you see the outer shelling that's left over. We could easily make these into an L-shaped tension wrench just using the natural L curve of the curve on the card. So they keep this notch, but if they made this top part thicker and made a breakout point here, this could be a perfect L tension wrench with a slightly longer reach in it. Now, if we want to even maximize more space, maybe the columns each could be and that's also where you could place the Allen wrenches with, is make these proper shaped, proper thickness handcuff key. You could either do that just on the side here, or you could actually make it so that they flare out the top in these little middle beams, and you could break them apart and use them as the handcuff keys, and maybe have the little points in the middle where they would be E-ways. But I think the most coolest thing that they could reuse on this card is that, I'm not going to use this, but if they like snapped this off here and they just kept this Evertas logo thing at the bottom, they could totally put in a small wedge here and deepen this more, maybe even have a breakout on top, see the logo a little lower, maybe put the tag mark on the back, and you could probably use this bottom part if they made it thicker and put those little wedge shapes that I talked about as an actual like micro gym. So instead of just the mini gym, this is even smaller, and even though again I think this had to be thicker, maybe make the card a little longer or something, but I would definitely be interested in probably make up sketches over the course of the next week to send to the Evertas company to make their remaining bottom into a door bypass at micro gym. Not only would that maximize the use of this card, but because that's where the logo directly is, they will remember that because it's an actual useful bypass tool. So that's the ways I'd improve these cards. I would definitely toss out the stupid tension wrench they have there, replace it with either a triple peak or a city rake. They could also put the city rake where the Allen wrenches are. They could also put in the an actual, maybe even 2 padlock shims where the Allen wrenches are, because not really used. Keep the notch. Use the extra curvature here as the actual turning tool, which would be honestly more sturdy and you wouldn't have to bend anything. And then make this bottom part taller and add in like different tiny notches so that this can be used as a micro gym bypassing tool. I think that would be really neat. So that's how we did this card. Now again, we have a good amount of people in chat, and thank you for everyone who's been saying in chat, the people who've been talking, the people that I haven't read their posts because they've been taking notes. I have a ton of these cards, and just because I don't know how high in demand these sort of business cards are, and I do want to also hand them out more into in-person events, I'm going to put it at, I will pick 4 winners to win this card. And instead of doing it in chat, if you're watching live, and I'll put this in the notes and I'll put this on our social media, I want you to go like and subscribe our YouTube channel. So you go onto YouTube. I want you to, if you haven't yet, like and subscribe on YouTube. I want you to go to the YouTube video comment section, and I want you to, let's come up with it right here. Ooh, there's 2 cards in one in here by accident. That's funny. One accidentally slid into the other. Guess one was cold and needed to warm up. But, well, it happens. It gets literally lonely in my lockpicking case. I don't question what they do in there as long as they're still there. We're an equal opportunity lockpicking case here at the Sidepocket Institution of Tool Teaching Programs. So again, I want you, if you haven't done, you're going to go to our YouTube. So that is literally youtube.com/c/DEFCON201. And if you are lost, I'm going to put in our link tree in which you can follow us on all sorts of social media. But for this contest, I want to kind of beef up our YouTube. So I want you to go to the YouTube. I'm going to check to see if you've liked and subscribed on our YouTube. Make sure, again, to turn that bell on to get all notifications. And then I want you to go into the comment section. And I want for you to comment. Let's figure out what I think would be a good lockpicking related comment. Because the thing is, I want to do, I was going to say something like some sort of lock experience, but maybe there's also people, because I usually hand these out to people who don't have a lockpick set, even if they're ordering one, so at least they have a lockpick set. So I want to figure out something that they could, that someone who didn't have lockpicking experience comment on. Give me a couple seconds, because if we did the chat, it was literally, I already had a bot set up for a raffle, but I think the comment section thing might be easier. So, the Jeopardy theme as I think of this. How about this? Whether you have picked locks or haven't picked locks, I want you to go into our YouTube comment section on this video. Again, make sure you follow us. If you comment and don't follow us, I'm not going to count you in it. And I want to hear a story about the shittiest lock you've ever encountered. Now that could be, it was a pain in the ass to open, whether it's picking, bypassing, knocking it off the door. It could be it's so shitty because it barely did its security function or didn't do it at all. But I want to hear, as subjective as it is, your worst lock story ever. Like, what lock did you experience in real life, or you purchased or encountered that was just holy fucking shit FML for your experience. And I'm going to pick the 4 best ones, and those people, I will contact you. You're going to give to whatever address you want me to send, and in the mail in a mysterious envelope that hopefully will not have white powder in it, because then you have to play the gamble of, is it cocaine, anthrax, or both? But you will receive an envelope with a sort of, hey, you won the contest, thank you note, and one of these lockpick cases. And this is especially going to be a good contest if you are not near the New York Tri-State area. If you are, you can come over, learn in person at Hack Manhattan on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month, or attend our eventual announced DCG 201 meeting in Jersey City, New Jersey, if my life won't be such a goddamn roller coaster with this, which we'll be announcing those details literally in the next 3 days, whether it's a good news or bad news, because I'm trying to find that out. If you do a good job there, and I'm like, oh cool, it's nice, you're your first time, or you got this far, and I still have those, I give that in person. But if you're not anywhere close, let's say you're living like Colorado or South Africa or the moon or something, go to our YouTube, like and subscribe on there, make a comment of what was the shittiest lock you've ever encountered, and who knows, you might win one of these lockpick cards. So that's the end of our episode. First, I'm actually happy that there wasn't like truly a billion people in chat and everyone arguing in it like there usually is, because I haven't done this in a month. Just I had to do it a bunch of personal reasons, and this was a great return to stream. And before I do the spiel to leave, I actually have a preview of the next episode. So the next episode, which should be sometime 2 weeks from now, is when I was at that Maker Faire Coney Island. The staff came by, and I don't know what door this was originally attached to, if anything, but they gave me this goddamn heavy-duty Ziploc bag, and it's lovely written on it, for Sidepocket from this person named Annie Fresh. And this giant mortise lock, and I'm going to show you the way smaller cylinder, is a lock that apparently is famous in Coney Island, that they have deemed this to be unpickable. So our next episode is we're going to explore this lock. We're going to talk about more of this locks. I also might even buy the bypass for this lock because there is one specifically designed for these types of locks, even though I might not be able to install it properly. But we're going to look at this lock core. I'm going to explain what this type of lock is as I investigate it. I'm holding it in a paper towel because not only is it dirty, but I've been spraying it with endless Houdini lock lube because, as you can probably see from it, this lock has seen better days back when it was a young lock, probably circa 1960s or older, because this is literally old as shit. And we're going to try to pick, rake, or bypass this open, and even whether we can or can't, I'm then going to use my pinning tool set, take this apart, and we'll see if it can open, because in my opinion, if a lock is unpickable or unopenable, it either means you are not skilled enough or have the right tools or techniques to open this, or, which literally might be the case with this lock might be fucking broken. So either way, we're going to find out next episode. Thank you everyone for watching this stream. If you are on YouTube, besides the contest, which I'll reiterate in the notes after this stream as well as on our social media, I've tagged, she had to delay it, but Lady Locks, who's this amazing, fantastic lockpicker with a show that I hope to eventually be on, who just happens to be one of the femme presenting equations, which is more common but still unusual in the lock world, unfortunately, because all the ladies in it are fucking amazing, including Lady Lockpicker. That is her actual handle, Lady Locks, aka Lady Lockpicker. Your YouTube will forward to that. On Twitch, we're going to just find someone randomly to raid, and unfortunately we still don't have enough kick viewers in order to raid any of their channels, which is not really much because, you know, I don't want to raid another person in a bikini hot tub staring out in space, or, which is way worse, someone trying to get you addicted to online gambling, which is why we joined Kick in the first place, to constantly remind you of how terrible of a platform it is, just like we are on a bunch of other different platforms. But I digress. Thank you for all watching out there. Again, stay tuned for the raid or re-forwarding if you're on Twitch or YouTube. I will reiterate the YouTube contest stuff below. If you want to follow us on all of our socials, on Twitter, not X, the whostucks.social of Mastodon, GitHub, we're on a ton of different things. In fact, thanks to something, we're going to be on 2 more social media platforms before the end of this week that we just started, and I'm going to announce that. You can go to our link tree. If you want to follow along, we're still trying to get the website going. So here is a link to our Medium blog. We do have a Right As blog that I'm doing some behind the scenes improvement on, and even though we use it less than we should, just like any filthy tech group or website, we do have a Discord that you can join. So that was it for our show. Yes, I've actually seen you, Brett, on the chat for her show. If you have not checked out Lady Locks, again, it's awesome. If you're on YouTube, it's going to forward to her. We also we share her stuff on our social media all the time. She's great. So that was it for the show. Thank you for watching. Again, look forward to the 2 raids or forwards. You can follow us on all of our socials and websites. Hope to see you in the next episode. I'll be announcing the exact date and time, roughly 2 weeks from now, about the Mortis lock that we're going to investigate from Coney Island. Hack the Planet, Dirty Jersey Represent, and remember, what should we do as our closer thing? Because I already talked about how kind of weird and shitty some of these are. And remember, I need to literally spend time remembering where everything fucking is in this space. Because you're only seeing one segment of it. This space goes on forever. There's a million different things, and I'm kind of vaguely familiar what.
Open houses Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m.
Yes, that too, even though I've said that 8,000 times. But yes, you can also visit. How about this? Show up at the open house, and whether I have the locks or not, you can join me in figuring out where anything is in this fucking space, because I'm still trying to learn from it. Yes, this is literally, have you ever seen, I'm trying to think of it. So you know that scene from Interstellar where they end up in that 3D concept of a 5D space? That's what some of this stuff is, and it doesn't help that similar to another movie, Pan's Labyrinth, once you think you know where the arrows are pointing in the maze, someone moves the arrows again. So there you go. Welcome to a hackerspace. It's a really awesome space. I hope you check it out on the open house Tuesdays and Thursdays. Who knows? Maybe you want to become a member. That's all. Enjoy the outro and the music. See you next episode. Goodbye. Hack the planet. Hack the planet.
to the wind. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the running so fast, can you find me in the dark? Oh baby, close your eyes and listen to the beat of my heart. Take my hand, don't be afraid. A love like ours just can't be tamed. Take my heart, just feel the beat. We'll leave tonight and run free into the
Even though obviously the Umbreon is the most sought after, it should technically not be harder, alright, than the others.
I'm up. Ganja smoking, they got rum in me cup. Bad gals wind up on the dance floor. All the gals wind up on the dance floor.